there, ref. That's he got the ball. Yes, good evening, Spurs fans, and welcome back to the Irish Hotspur for your Monday night fan show. We will be a lot more consistent with them in 2025. Of course, we had a small break over the Christmas. We are back up and running with them now. The link is in the community section for any members that want to come on and have their say. Simply get in there, click onto it, bring you into the back. And we've already got a couple of people there that we will speak to. What we're going to do is we're going to discuss the fallout from yesterday's game, also some of the news around Tottenham today, and then we'll get the guests on and have their say. Now, in terms of Tamworth, look, of course, job done at the end of the day. All you wanted to do was be in the draw for the next round. Pissed me off that we got a Premier League team, considering all the other teams that were on offer. We ended up getting Aston Villa away. Some people said, you know what, maybe not a bad idea. We perform against good teams. But look, regardless, I think whether you're Angie and Ange out, whether you like what's going on at Tottenham right now or not, I think everyone will agree that to not score against Tamworth inside the 90 minutes is absolutely disgraceful. That game yesterday should never have gone to extra time. And I think for me, the positive coming out of that game is questions around certain players and, you know, that we've had on this discussion about their fight for Tottenham Hotspur. And one thing that I've realised, you know, since that game yesterday is at Tottenham, when you're coming here and you're signing on that contract, you have to be prepared to fight. And the reason why is it feels like referees are always against you. The Premier League's against you. Every team fancies beating you, you know, and it almost feels like every game you have to go in prepared to fight. And I think we've had conversations around Johnson's preparedness to fight, Maddison's preparedness to fight, Bissouma's preparedness to fight, Werner's all started yesterday's game and all piss poor. I think Johnson completed 1 or 2 out of 5 or out of 5 or 6 dribble attempts by his man yesterday. Shocking. I think he put in 2 crosses out of, you know, 4 or 5 attempts yesterday. None of them really reached his man. Shocking. And I think that's the positive to come from it. And I think if I'm Postecoglou, I've got the answers I need from certain players. You know, if you can't do it against Tamworth, who are non-league, and by the way, I think 16th or 19th in the National League, by the way, it's not like they're up the top. If you're not prepared to do it against them, then are you prepared to do it Wednesday night in the North London Derby? So for me, I think that's the positive to take from it going forward. You look at Son, came on, tried his best. You look at Spence, the impact that he had, Kulu, Bergvall, you know, Kinski was relatively good yesterday. Graham Dragston didn't really put a foot wrong. I think, you know, there's positives to take. I think we know who's fighting for the club and who's not. Jack, what's your thoughts on Tamworth before I bring in other news?
I mean, it was painful. We wanted it to be something like that 5-0, 6-0 type of scoreline. It clearly from the get-go didn't seem like it was going to be one of those days. Everyone just looked kind of useless. You know, people were struggling to get by, you know, a team that trains, what was it, twice or maybe 3 times a week, you know, and they were struggling to get by them, struggling to even create much of anything on a regular basis. It was very lackluster, very sideways from the whole team as well, which was kind of, you know, made it more disappointing. But I don't know, Dave, it's kind of one of those where if we end up really, you know, I guess falling short against Arsenal, you look back against this, you know, Tamworth performance and think, you know what, maybe there is, again, you know, some major question marks. But let's say we do get a good performance, you know, and let's say a solid result of some kind against Arsenal away from home here, and maybe some results on afterwards, then maybe we kind of just look back on it as one of those, just ugly days that you don't really want to think about ever again. So it's kind of it could be one or the other, really. And I guess we'll find out, you know, in the next week or so, probably the Arsenal game as well as the Everton game. We'll probably find out whether this was a game to read a whole lot into or not. It was certainly not pleasant, though, to go through.
I think, look, what it highlights for me as well moving forward is we need forward players in the door very, very quickly. You know, I've spoke about it for, you know, a while now about our forward line not being anywhere near consistent enough, you know, to take us where we want to go. And, you know, it just annoys me. You know, you come off the back of that Liverpool game on a real high. You go and slap up Tamworth. You head into the North London Derby on a real high. The reality is, because we're so Jekyll and Hyde, no one knows what Tottenham team to expect against Arsenal at the Emirates. And, you know, it's very hard to predict. And it's becoming really annoying. You know, that Tamworth game, we made that difficult yesterday. You look at the size of the pitch here yesterday. You've got Bissouma standing on the ball. Come to me. And then as soon as they come to him, he switches and moves away from it and stuff. You know, only when Bergvall came on and more the direct players like Kulusevski, the runners who got on the ball, started switching the play, opening up the pitch. That's when we started breaking down Tamworth. But where was that urgency from the very beginning, opening up play, trying to, you know, use the pitch, run the legs off them? We just didn't do it. And for me, it's absolutely brain dead. Look, we're going to have a discussion today. I see a lot of people blaming Postecoglou, and then I see another side blaming the players. So we're going to find out off the fans today. Also, bits of transfer news for everybody. You know, it looks like the Kolo Muani deal could be back on. Tottenham have per Fabrizio Romano, the Juventus and Tottenham have both made contact again today with Paris Saint-Germain for Randall Kolo Muani. Man United called last week and remain informed on developments, but Rashford exit would be a key factor. PSG insist on their conditions, but Kolo Muani will 100% leave. So he is leaving this January, and Tottenham have contacted PSG again today. Now, as far as I understand from my digging into this, Muani does want Juventus over Tottenham Hotspur. So we'll wait and see how that pans out. And I think, he's holding out to see if Juve can meet his demands and PSG's demands. If not, Tottenham look like they're ready there to sort of swoop in and get him over the line. Also, Tottenham by Miguel Delaney has been reportedly interested in a loan move for Marcus Rashford. Now, we'll also ask fans on that. Me personally, I would stay away. This guy went out after being slapped up by Man City and had a birthday party in public. Even if you've paid for it and you booked it and all, I get you're a human being. But I'm sorry, that just shows to me your focus is elsewhere and not on the football. Because your focus was on the football and you came through Man United and you love Man United the way you do. You go and have that party behind closed doors in your big mansion, not out in the public. And for me, I don't want him anywhere near the football club. His career's tailing off because he's not focused on his football. Jack, just your quick thoughts on them two pieces of business. If Tottenham, it's clear that they're in the market for a player, and they're the two that so far are on the market.
Well, I feel like there's going to be some sort of action with Kolo Muani where Manchester United are trying to offload the wages that Rashford brings, which is some of the most in Europe, right? And there are only so many clubs that can even afford that, could even consider bringing that on, because we already know that he is a bit of a damaged product, right? He's not a certain player that's going to deliver for you. So PSG is probably one of the only clubs that could really afford him. But then Kolo Muani has been brought there for huge wages, huge transfer fee, that sort of thing. And so then it kind of, they're going to offload the Kolo Muani wages in order to potentially, I guess, bring in Rashford. And you could argue that maybe Rashford is, trying to finesse that himself and is just waiting for, I guess, PSG to find, the room to be able to bring him in, and then Kolo Muani will go somewhere. My personal preference is actually not to bring in Kolo Muani. He had that one good season. I'm not convinced since his time at PSG either. Like, he's just been outplayed and just lost his spot to very, very good players ahead of him. But I'm a little bit worried about that. And then he's going to come with huge wages. He's also as well seems to not be that keen on coming to Spurs. Like, I think there was a rumor that he kind of would prefer move to Juventus. It wouldn't surprise me because they would afford his wages, and it wouldn't be a big move to the Premier League. It'd be to maybe a league he might prefer in the Serie A. So I just wonder if he's not the right guy for us.
Look, I do, for me, it's, are you bringing in Kolo Muani to be a striker and compete with Dom Solanke? I'm okay with that. That's where he played at Eintracht Frankfurt, and that's where he absolutely railroaded us. If we're bringing him in here to be a winger, well, we've already made that mistake with Johnson and Timo Werner. I just wonder, are you getting yourself into the same sort of conundrum that we're already in? Marcus Rashford, like I said, I don't want anywhere near the club whatsoever. Also, Alfie Dorrington today has joined or will be joining Aberdeen on loan for the rest of the season. And to Lily White Rose, and he's well respected around the Tottenham community in terms of his info, in terms of the youngsters at Tottenham Hotspur. And he also says that Alfie Dorrington, he reckons, has signed a new long-term contract before that loan move. Look, for me, I'm absolutely delighted for the kid. Of course, I send him off with his best wishes. I think he's been very unlucky. Last season, Ashley Phillips was sent out on loan ahead of him, and he was being kept around. And Postecoglou name-checked him a couple of times. Even when asked about Donnelly and others, he kept on referring to Alfie Dorrington, which meant I think Postecoglou really liked what he saw. But then he ended up suffering a hamstring injury, got himself back, and then in the Liverpool game in the quarterfinals last year for the under-21s, pulled it again, required surgery, missed pre-season, has sort of took his time this season getting back up to full fitness. And I think with the emergence of how well Archie Gray has took to centre-back, with the likes of Davies, Romero, Van de Ven nearing fitness, I think it is the right option to send him out for the second half of the season, because even if you get through in the Europa League, you're not going to be playing your Carabags on that anymore, so the game time is going to be even more limited. So I think it's the right move for him to go and continue his development rather than stagnate. That's the point he's at, and fair play to him for getting this point. To come through the youth system, continually get contracts to get to this point is already an amazing feat. Now he doesn't need to start it by sitting around and doing nothing. Get him out and look at the benefits for Keeley, Donnelly, players like that. Jack, quick thoughts on Dorrington?
I like you. I think it's a really good move for him to the right league as well. You'd like to think too that maybe playing for a team like Aberdeen, he gets a bit more time on the ball, gets to sort of develop that really technical, side of his game, which I think is really strong. Right, he's big and strong, but he also is really good center back
Mm,
on the ball. And maybe playing for a team like that allows him to be able to do that instead of just defending for all 90 minutes,
mm,
type of side. The other thing too is just you have to look back on that injury. Like you just have to feel for the guy. You wonder if that injury never happens. Does he end up,
yeah.
sticking around kind of like Lancashire has?
Or would
Lancashire,
he
I
have
feel
played right now and took his opportunity,
right.
do you know?
Would he have already played? Would he have been kind of just included like, Olasesi has been, like Lancashire has been, like Mikey Moore has been? Would he have been one of those sort of players for us this year, right? A guy that
Yeah.
isn't going to get a lot of minutes, but is going to be kept around because, of course, homegrown, club trained, which is a really important,
Mm,
role for registration. But then also he just gets to get little minutes here and there when Ange
yeah.
Postecoglou thinks is right. And I just wonder if that injury had never happened, I think he would have probably taken a part in this season, but it did
Mm,
happen. And he then had to, come back from that really brutal injury. And the only way he could do that is through like under 21 games. And
yeah.
then at this point, Ange has already had to lean on Archie Gray, use Dragashin 1,000 times. He's probably just tired of throwing in different center backs. He wants to use the same core here and makes sense, for everybody involved. It's just unfortunate. I think you have to
Mm.
look back at that injury and just maybe think of what if things were different.
I also think, not having the preseason, that I think that would have been crucial. Seeing other youngsters, Lancashire, Mikey Moore, Burval, Gray, Spence, all being kept around because of their performances in preseason. And I think that was a huge opportunity missed for Darrington. Not, of course, not to any fault of his own, but sometimes football is about timing. And
Yep.
unfortunately, it's gone against him this time around. But what I would say, it's not over. Go out, develop on your own, put in a really good performance up north, come back and get your preseason next season and see what you can do. I think, look, good opportunity for Alfie Darrington. And then lastly, Paul O'Keefe, has sort of said that Richarlison is on track to be
Yep.
included in the squad for the North London derby against Arsenal tomorrow on Wednesday night. But Ben Davies is close but not certain to return for that squad. Jack, huge positive, I suppose. We do need someone to be able to pull Dom Solanke off for. You can see in games now with the relentless press, he's run himself into the ground. He needs to be
Yeah.
alleviated at times. Good to have Richarlison back, but I'd argue, Jack, Richarlison has to have a massive impact right from the off. He can't take 5, 6, 7 games to get going. By then, the season's already nearly over. And he's already on the chopping block for the summer. All the
100%.
reports around him have been Tottenham are looking to offload him in the summer. So he has to come back and perform immediately, right?
Is even if he doesn't want to leave, I think he's pretty much almost out the door at this point. But I agree, like if he really has an incredible impact towards the end of this season here in really crucial games as well, fills in for Solanke, gives him that rest. But also, I mean, the bar is so low on the winger side of things that
Yeah.
Richarlison is actually probably quite useful out there. And I'm not saying he is a winger or that's really an ideal position for us to see him, as, but what we just witnessed from Johnson and Timo Werner the other night against Tamworth, really makes you feel like, would be nice just to have something a little bit different. And
Yeah.
Richarlison could bring that on the wings as well as through the forward line. He just needs to give these guys that have been playing every single game here, almost 90 minutes every single game, like
Yeah.
Solanke, needs to give him rest, but also needs to challenge other players for other spots as well. So big games for Richarlison. My
Mm.
worry is he plays a few games, gets injured again, and then, the summer looms over
Mm.
whether he's, fit or not to be sold.
Well, look, for me, it's great to have that sort of relief,
Right.
for the likes
I
of Dom
love
Solanke and
Richarlison, but yeah,
other players across the forward line. Is he going to come back and impact what we're doing? It remains to be seen. And I think if he can, I think he can salvage his Tottenham career. I think if it takes him a while to get going and he's clunky and, the attacks are breaking down at his feet like they were often, before his injury, then I think it raises the question. So let's wait and see. But look, you see Vicario back very, very quickly in the gym as soon as Kinski signed. With Tottenham looking to get Colin Moani in, does it sort of get Richarlison there?
you're right.
Back ready and firing. Let's wait and see. And also, it'd be good. I have to get the neck muscles going again now, just in case I have the odd pigeon dance coming up, which is exciting. I have missed that. I have missed the sort of what would I say, the furore that comes around Richarlison. You know, there's always a lot of noise around him, and he does bring certainly good conversations. But look, let's get into the comments. Ryan Tristan says, "Big up, David Jack. Even if we win a trophy, I still want Ange out, and I won't be celebrating the trophy because Ange is an absolute joke." Look,
I think he must have shagged his missus or something, Ange. It's at this point, I'm just saying. I think Ryan has won the trophy for being the most Ange out, is what I was saying to him in the back end.
Do you know what? For me, look, in fairness to Ryan, he's had that consistent point on Ange Postecoglou. But, if I'm correct, his demands on other managers, or his demand in general, or his big gripe with Tottenham is that we don't win trophies. If Ange delivers a trophy, he's the first one since 2008, since Juan de Ramos. I think there's a lot to be said for that. And I think, it should change your opinion, especially considering you gave me Halloween and Christmas he'd be sacked by, and he's still here. So maybe he's doing something to prove whatever narrative you have around him wrong. And I think maybe you need to be open to that, Rhino. But big up, Rhino. We've got Adrian Schrocker in the house. Good evening, Jack and Dave. Good to see you, my man. We also have Just a Harmless Spud. Says, big up, Dave and Jack. Even if we don't win a trophy, I still want Ange in, and I'd be celebrating because Ange is still up. Big up, Just a Harmless. And right there between them comments, you can see exactly why the Spurs fan base is split. We have Bluebly, word of the wise, move on. We won, and we have far bigger games to discuss. If it's a bad day at the office, results in a 3-0 win and qualifying for the next round, let it go. We won. Look,
I think we had a bit of balance on it
around it, but look, football isn't just as easy as that. I do think, like I said at the start of the show, I think there's things you can learn from it. Players that have been exposed. Look, for me, yesterday doesn't come down to tactics. It just, for me, you should be able to pick any 11 players out there, and should have been able to pick an 11 out of the Irish Hotspur community. And it's just about heart, hunger, desire, and showing your quality. And at the end of the day, I think a lot of the players let themselves down. I think Pedro Porro gave away the ball 45 times and was dribbled by twice by a National League winger. Like, nowhere near good enough. I think it comes down to personal pride in a lot of their performances, to be quite frank. K32 says, hello, Dave and Jack. Nice to see you. Hope you're all good. Good evening, all Spurs fans. Big up, K32. Good to see you, my man. Tottenham Tom, great to see you, along with Neil G as well. And Uphill Gardner says, it's not refs or the FA. Well, I think it is. I do think, that everyone's out to get Tottenham. Just my opinion. What I will say is I've been like that for the last 4 years. I've always said, and I do think I see more and more people come around to my side of thinking, despite labeling me a conspiracy theorist at the start. Dark Song G, good to see you. Says, I love how Gooners lost 12v10 and how Reyes looks at penalties. Do you know what? As soon as I finished up everything I needed to do here yesterday, I went straight to the couch and I turned on that game. And do you know what? It was a good, raucous game. Plenty of tackles flying in. Atmosphere was good. I do agree the ref was quite biased towards Arsenal. That penalty decision was never a penalty. That Odegaard missed, but in normal time, never. I think the referee sort of was pandering to the crowd a little bit, pandering to the audience. But look, United, they persevered through. And they end up getting their result on the end. I think Bayinder is absolutely a brilliant penalty saver. He saved one in normal time and one in the penalties as well. And it's just how large he stretches his body. Some of them penalties were good. They were right down in the corner. He got down, got a strong hand to them, and fair play to him. And do you know what? I actually liked his interview after, where he was just like, look, I just want to help the situation. I just want to help. I absolutely love that. I love that sort of keen desire from a player. And do you know what? Arsenal are gone. Brilliant. I think you got Chelsea, Brighton as well. One of them will be gone. Hopefully we knock out Aston Villa. So, maybe if we can beat Aston Villa, some of the Premier League ties might work out in our favour. Some of the bigger teams will hopefully be gone. Dark Song G, good to see you, my man. And Jackie also says, as soon as Saka doesn't play, Gooners look toothless. And this is something we spoke about while recording the channel predictions. I think someone brought it up, right? How toothless they do look without Saka.
I mean, the funny thing is that they're so deep into this project, Dark Sundry, and yet they're still so reliant on the same guys, from the very get-go, right? They have had so many opportunities to try to build around or, develop some sort of philosophy where they wouldn't need to be as dependent on these guys, but they are, and it's going to be a battle between, you could argue, the two toothless forward lines, because our forward line is pretty useless at times at creating. I mean, we get the chances, we get good opportunities to create really good chances. Some games we don't end up creating them. Other games we do, but then we don't even put away the chances. So it's really the battle between the two toothless forward lines. But at least in our case, Darks and G, we're only a year and a half into the into the project, really, right? Or whatever distance it's been, or whatever time it's been. And, they're whatever, 4 or 5 years, whatever it's been, with Arteta at this stage. So it's, I think, very different boats, but kind of similar problems, which is quite funny.
Big up Dark Sung G. But look, they are very heavily reliant on Saka, And look, even when Saka was in the team, they always spoke about the need for centre forward. They always spoke about the need for someone better than Martinelli off the left-hand side. So without Saka, it makes our job easier. What I will say is, though, that little rat Sterling always produces against Tottenham Hotspur, so we do have to keep him quiet. Dark Song G, big up, my man. Let's take a few more comments. We have Rick C. says, not good enough from Johnson. Look, I completely agree. And for me, I think that game yesterday exposed him. For me, sometimes is he learning to try and adapt to create that half a yard between the full back? It is different at Premier League level. It's a lot tougher to do. But I mean, that game he had all the time in the world and still failed. So for me, I just don't think he has.
Crossing?
Well, it just shows to me that he hasn't been out practicing, after trainings, out there practicing the cross. And Jack, he also just doesn't have that ability. If you got all the time in the world and you still can't do it, you just don't possess that ability whatsoever. Big up DB, says, evening all, good to see you, my man. Hopefully you're keeping well. He says, big up Tamworth, what the FA Cup is all about. Forget performance, they were great. We focus on Arsenal, enjoyed watching United do them. I just have a feeling about Wednesday. Well, look, we do have
some
the big
people do
on Wednesday. Good to see that people are starting to have that feeling, but I think that feeling is more so off Arsenal's recent performances in their cup games than their actual league form. People forget they are going for the league title in the Premier League. And he also says, I'm sure Ancho I'm not a big fan of, but prepared to see it clearly. He is clearly adapting. Look, fair play to you. He is. He is. You look at that Liverpool game, I think, we played more long balls in that game than we've ever played under Ange Postecoglou. He says, was negotiating with Levy by playing Verno up front and not playing Dorrington, talking to Levy. Doesn't work. Look, I think it's hard to say Levy doesn't have a hand in team selection when you listen to Tim Sherwood and he was told you've got to play Sadado over Harry Kane. And look how right he was proven. Tim Sherwood. We've got King Huddle says, we were deliberately playing within ourselves because of the North London derby and to avoid further injuries. It was blatantly obvious to anyone with a brain. I'm not even going to bother analysing Tamworth. Look, that's one way of viewing it, but I would argue Johnson has a point to prove. Werner, massive point to prove. Maddison, massive point to prove. Werner and Maddison in general have rode the bench for the last 3-4 games leading up to this game. So they have a point to prove. So I don't buy into that they're saving themselves for the North London derby. What are they saving themselves to do? Warm the bench. Seriously. I understand your point of view. I think that was the case with maybe an Archie Gray, Radu Dragusin, players like that to a point. But players that have been bench riders, I'm not having that excuse. And hopefully you understand. I'm willing to meet you halfway, King Huddle. And hopefully you understand my point of view on it, Jack.
Hopefully he can acknowledge that maybe we have half a brain. With King Huddle, I mean, I think you could concede at least a little bit, right? You can concede this part. It did expose the problem that we've highlighted 1,000 times this year, which is the forward line is not very good and is not very clinical and is very bad at doing what they should be doing, which is running at their fullbacks, creating space, putting in service into the box, creating opportunities and putting away opportunities. And if we're not scoring after 90 minutes against Tamworth, and we barely created much of anything, in that game against Tamworth, and we probably actually should have lost when you really look at it towards the end, you definitely have to take something from it, and I think the big lesson learned was this forward line is probably not very good and, is very reliant on Kulusevski, Solanke, Sonny, those sort of types of players who also still haven't necessarily produced, as many goals or assists as some people might like. So I think that's what at least the game exposed was the forward line, of anything. Probably Basuma, though, Dragusin, those sort of players probably were trying to preserve themselves, though. I would agree with that.
No, absolutely spot on. Absolutely spot on. But appreciate the comment, King Huddle. Keep working away through them. IrishHotspur evening all. Hope you're all well. That Tamworth game killed me off, but glad we got there in the end. Look, I think everyone was relieved at the end, right? No one wanted that embarrassment. No one wanted to sit there and deal with that embarrassment. So relieved we got there in the end. It's just a shame. And, in a way, it annoys me because we sort of sold Harry Kane to get away from relying on one player, but we're still heavily reliant on certain players like Son, Kulu, players like that. You know what I mean? It's sort of annoying me a little bit, Holly, but big up. Good to see you in the house, and hopefully you're keeping well. And everybody, make sure you get over and check out IrishHotspur as well. We also have Kim A.D. Helgeson. I would take Rashford over Werner all day. And look, that's an absolute fair point. I think many people would agree with you. I just think you're getting yourself into a problem, if you bring him in. Same with Jack Grealish. Are they focused on their football? And that's my biggest problem. If you want to achieve trophies, you've got to have everyone focused on the one thing, which is achieving the same goal. If you've got other people who have other stuff going on here, there, and everywhere, they are going to let you down. And usually in the most important moments. International Observer says, with the rumours about Madrid are seriously considering Van de Ven and QE, doesn't that blow? Look, I think the rumours are there being around, Romero for quite some time. As for Van de Ven, I mean, who wouldn't be interested in the guy, right? He probably solves half the problems around world football, to be quite frank with you. So, who wouldn't want him? Am I scared? Slightly. I think if Madrid come in with the right money, even if Daniel Levy tries to say,
one of them going.
The player will force his way out. Dennis Daly says Levy out. RD United TV says beat Arsenal next game, please. Good to see we're getting support from some clubs around the Premier League. We have Marco Enrico. I don't know why there is talk about Rashford coming to Spurs. We cannot afford him, and he's just not worth the headache. Do you know what? I would have had that opinion, but then when we sanctioned 185k a week on Timo Werner, I believe, I think, you can expect him to probably do anything. Dark Sung G also says great comment, shows his mentality, and that's why we signed him. Look, I think Archie Gray, the first thing I loved about is, look, I'm not going to stand here and make excuses. I mean, bravo, 18 years of age, absolutely brilliant. Down the years, I've heard the referee being blamed, by player, heard them blame the home crowd for making too much noise, blame the weather conditions, blame other people around the club, blame the manager, everything else. What I love about, and this is what I've always spoke about, just accountability. Archie Gray, 18 years of age. Look, I'm not going to stand here and make excuses. Bravo, take a bow, absolutely love it, because I think he also understands where Spurs fans are at. How many times have we all said after disastrous loss, I just don't want to hear them explain it away. I'm fed up with it. So fair play to Archie Gray. He gets it, and he's one I'm very happy with. Dermo Trust is North London Derby and will always beat Lily White in Ange, we trust. Look, it's going to be a good one. It's going to be a big one. The last one was only decided by a set piece. You look at Kinski, he's very good from the air. I think he came out and claimed, 5 of their long throws and eliminated Tom Tonks, long throw to a certain degree. So could he play an impact and help us get over the line with a result here? Let's wait and see. Big up Dermo. Dark Sung G also says Guna fans crying about being out of 2 cups again. I think I've seen what's his name? Troops' meltdown. I know we've a second leg against Newcastle, but we ain't coming back. It's done. Arteta's a bum. This, that, and the other. It's absolutely brilliant. And it's getting into why I enjoyed watching Arsenal content in the first place. I hate watching it when they're sitting there. Oh, we're winning. Look, we're going to do this. We're going to do that. I only love it when they're crying. So, I might venture back across that side of the universe. Big up Dark Sung G. And he also says, Kai loves to dive, then score. Kinski, first Premier League game in the North London Derby. I mean, look,
he is a bit of a shithouse.
He missed where he went for the Davy Dink instead of tapping it in was atrocious. Look, you take over for a sec, Jack. I don't know where my camera is.
He is a bit, but we can still hear you though. Dark Sun G, he is a bit of a shithouse, man. He dives. He also as well, kind of throws in, nasty challenges, here and there. I think he gets away with actually a lot, to be honest. Kai Havertz, I'm surprised that he doesn't get sent off more. He even got away with that really nasty challenge against us, right? And just first ever North London derby, right? I think that was away from home. So with Kai Havertz, hopefully the referees eventually pick up on it, because guys like Romero, right? They're always looking at him like an absolute hawk. But it feels like with people like Kai Havertz, I'd also say Gabriel, a bit naughty. I feel like they kind of get away with a lot. I kind of like those aspects of the game. I think it's kind of makes it fun, and it's good to have those sort of players. But I do think he gets away with a bit too much at times.
Yeah, well, do you know what? I feel sorry for
diving, just all shithousery. He kind of does it all, Havertz, really.
Look, I liked Havertz before he moved to Arsenal. He's a player I would have wanted Spurs to go and get. But I think, he's been turned into a makeshift striker, which he ain't. So to a degree, Arsenal fans can hate on him all he want, but he was never a striker. I think Chelsea also tried to play him as a lone striker at some point, but he's just not a striker for me. He's more of a creator. But big up Dark Sung G. And look, Kinski against Arsenal, I'm excited, with that passing range. I mean, they can come and press us all they want. Scram, we'll just pop it in behind. They can send them corner kicks on. It's great. We just get Kinski, 6 foot odd, to come off his line and claim them. So hopefully, we have the answers with Kinski and goals. We'll take a few more comments, welcome a few more in, and we'll crack on. International Observer says, I've already got that one. Big up International Observer. We've got Ricky Nato says, evening, brothers. We need ballers, not big-headed stars, players who want to play for the badge. Come on, you Spurs. Look, for me, I think you have to make yourself a star at Tottenham Hotspur. The minute we start, well, if we bring in if we bring in a star, in isolation and don't surround it with other stars, they're always going to take the piss at Tottenham Hotspur. They're always going to do it. If you bring in like a Rashford or Grealish now, you're going to feel like they're the biggest player in the pond. And, players like that I'm concerned about because they're more interested in their lifestyle off the pitch. And that's why Grealish ain't playing for Man City right now, because they're more interested in their life off the pitch than they are on the pitch. At Tottenham Hotspur, we need players that are ready to muck in, run their legs off, and become that superstar at Tottenham. I'm just very weary of Tottenham going after superstars because I just feel like they come here with sort of an ego, and it's not good for other players around the squad, to be quite frank, Ricky Nato. But look, let's wait and see what happens. Jem Mehmet says, well, actually, I don't mind real superstars that are at the top of the game. It's players that are superstars that have fallen off at clubs and Spurs are in for. They're the ones I don't want. That's probably a better way of phrasing it. Jem Mehmet says, smashed more like a shocking performance till extra time. Porro being skinned by a part-time Zara worker. I mean, look, that was embarrassing yesterday, Pedro Porro. Absolutely embarrassing performance from him. And look, if Udogie was fit, would he be dropped for the North London Derby? We've got Dragon in the house. Nobody plays for a badge no more. It's all about money. Absolutely spot on. Big up Rain Man. Great to see you as always. We have Ed Sweeting. Rashford seems very unlikely. Ange values work rate, so it'd be a strange decision. Absolutely spot on. Marco Enrico says, why do great players stop playing? Great. Look, sometimes the lifestyle catches up with them and they take their mind off what they're supposed to be doing. Artist T says, Timo must have naughty pictures of Ange because why does he still get minutes? I take that. Enuro guy looked way better than him, and Brennan is also 22. I mean, I think many people said that, Jack, right?
Yeah, I think it's the big joke from the watch along, and it actually ended up filtering over to Twitter as well. Artist T, that people felt like that guy was actually not too bad and not too shabby and was doing basically all the things that we never see Johnson or Timo Werner do on a regular basis. But that's what we mean when Dave and I even say it's kind of just what you thought were the sheer basics of being a winger, right? Like even it goes down to the National League level, it goes down to your pub side level. Just, when you get your space like that as a winger, your goal is to get your team up the pitch. And by doing that, you have to drive at your fullback, get your team up there, and also as well try to create spaces and little half, spaces and opportunities to create chances. And it doesn't seem like it's that difficult. It can be for certain players, but apparently not for National League players.
Mm-hmm. No, 100%. 100%. Look, yesterday was an embarrassment. Look, Werner, I could see us sleepwalking into the problem. I mean, I blame Johnson and that for not crossing properly. But another point too, I said it in the pre-match build-up. Who are they crossing to? Werner exactly ain't the target man you're looking for, is he? And he's hard to find in among 6 foot plus players. Mud FC says, bro, you try and play 3 times a week with training in between. See if you don't drop off. Look, I understand your point of view. I can understand a drop off here and there, but the players that I'm talking about, players I've had a problem with for quite some time. The players I'm talking about, I've been on about for quite some time before we got into this situation this season. I picked them out last season, when there was massive rest between games and stuff like that, So for me, I understand your point of view, but, it was the same last season and they had sometimes 2 weeks between games at times. So that's why I'm not giving them the excuse. The likes of Kulu, Son, to a degree, I can understand because they're used to producing and they're the guys we rely on. Someone like Werner, Brennan Johnson, and Madison. And by the way, they're not playing most weeks. They're riding the bench most weeks. So again, I don't have that excuses for them. Hopefully you understand my point of view. We have Slow Jamrock. Good to see you. Hopefully you're keeping well, my man. Good to see you in the building. Mick Carmalock, as always, great to see you. Paul Brown, good to see you. Says hopefully all's well. Look, as well as could be, Paul. How's life with you, my man? This is my biggest take from yesterday. Ange does not reserve the right to be so arrogant. Surely he realizes we are a complete shit show. Look, I think he does. I think he does realize, but what's the benefit of him coming out and saying that? The minute he does, he loses the dressing room. That's why he's protecting these players and hoping that they come good out the end of it. But the fact that he sat there coming into January calling for more forward players and better quality forward players, I think alludes to that he does realise, some of the players are just dog shit. I think he does realise that, Paul Brown. But look, you also have to put yourself in his shoes. If he comes out and says that, I was watching the latest series of the Salford documentary where they were changing managers, and you could see the previous manager, his demeanour changing. Then when he was asked about players in the press conference, he's standing there going, I have a lack of quality. What do you want me to do? well, results didn't improve. The player stopped trying for you. It cost him his job. So that's what faces Postecoglou the minute he comes out and says that. And I think there does have to be that understanding around that. And we have Adrian Brown. Big up, Adrian. Big up, all. Love Kinski. What a goalkeeper.
Yeah.
I think he should be the number one goalkeeper. He can shoot out in almost precision to players. Look, his distribution is absolutely quality, and I think that's why Vicarious come back early. I think he realizes the immense quality that this guy possesses.
Yeah.
Look, North London Derby, let's see how handles that environment. It's going to be a big one. It's not going to be an easy one. And believe me, behind goals, people are going to be they are going to be screaming at him. I've been in behind the goals when Swansea had Fabianski and the abuse he got. That's not even a North London derby. It's just because he played for Arsenal. So I can only imagine the stuff that Kinski's going to get. Let's see how he handles it, because it is an environment that can very quickly get on top of you. And then we've got Mary W. Things are on the up. 2 more signings, then we will be flying again. Look, 2 wins on the bounce in cup games is exactly what we want. We're still in the hunt for trophies. But we can't be naive. Like you said, we do need a couple more signings to help kick this on. We can't get into the false sense of security now going, we don't need to do anything. Of course we do, to push it on. You're absolutely spot on. And Mary, it's great to see you around. Hopefully you are keeping well. But look, I think we've got everybody. I think we've gone through the chat nice and efficiently there. I don't think I've missed anybody out. Like I do say always, people, before we get going, everyone's going to have different opinions. It's okay to disagree. That's fine. I think it's healthy, actually, but let's not take it over the top. But let's get into it. By the way, we've only got 2 guests in the background. Unusual. Maybe it's because we haven't done them in a while and people are off doing things and it's January and shit like that. But there is room if you have been thinking about getting on. Head to the community section if you are a member. The link is up there. Get on and have your say. But let's get into it, because I know these guys also need to get off quickly as well. Let's bring on the one and only Chris. Let's hear what he has to say. Chris, good evening, sir. How are you keeping?
Good evening, David. Good evening, chat. This is unusual for me to be first on, isn't it?
It is, but look, a lot of people enjoy what you have to say, and even if they don't, they enjoy how you deliver it, Chris. So let's get into it. Look, plenty to talk about. What's your thoughts on yesterday's game, first of all? A lot of people blame Ange. A lot of people are blaming the players. I sit on blaming the players. I don't think you need tactics to beat Tamworth, to be quite frank. But, there have been a lot of people that have been disgruntled with Ange Postecoglou over the defeat on social media. Who do you blame for yesterday, or do you blame everyone?
And some people saying people shouldn't read into it.
That's the other alternative that I didn't want to consider. Thank you, Jack.
For me, it's everybody. Some of Ange's decision-making yesterday really annoyed me. The players that were playing yesterday need to have their contracts terminated and leave. You know what? There was too much yesterday to analyse into that game, where we should, ironically, be beating these teams 5-0, 6-0. We've had Premiership quality. They're National League. But when you've got a striker like Werner, who can't hit a barn door, he's through on goal, one-on-one with the goalkeeper, smashing it straight against the goalkeeper. Brennan Johnson can't beat his man. Pedro Porro giving the ball away with 45 times. But I'm going to take it easy on Porro. Porro's played nearly every single game this season, right? So,
do you know what, though, Chris? 2 things on that.
I think, personally, David, I think yesterday Porro should have been rested and brought Spence on to start that game. Personally, that would be me. We could put Porro a rest. Give him a rest for the Arsenal game. But
2 things on that, Chris. Just 2 things on that. I actually agree with you on Porro and Spence. I said it in my predicted lineup, because Spence has played a lot more minutes, play him instead of Pedro Porro. But I'm going to hold the same energy for Pedro Porro like I've done with Johnson and Werner. Something you said there, Werner and his misses, that's something that everyone spoke about coming into this game. I'm walking away from this game. It's clearly he just doesn't have it in his locker now. Johnson, when he's crossing, coming into this game, it's clear he doesn't have it. But one thing that's been aimed at Pedro Porro is the amount of times he gives away the ball. And he gave it away 45 times against Tamworth. And also,
the thing is, right, with Porro, you see his composure on the ball is slipping away. You can see he's absolutely knackered, right? He's not getting rested. He should have been rested yesterday, right? But the one player I never, ever, ever want to see in a Spurs shirt again is Werner. The guy's contract needs to be terminated. Just send him back to Leipzig, pay whatever you need to pay to get him out of contract, and just let him go. The guy's a total disgrace. He's a fraud.
Why do you think he started then? Because Postecoglou name-checked him after the Rangers game, specifically pulled him out for not pulling his weight, not showing enough quality. So why did he play him? Well, he did. He had been Lancashire. Could have played him.
I don't. Do you know what, Dave? Maybe the comment in in the chat was right. Maybe he's got some naughty pictures of and so he has to keep playing him. But I don't know. It's just Werner's a disgrace. He's a disgrace. Johnson yesterday, another disgrace. Guy costs us 50 million and can't even beat a National League winger. Can't cross. Mr. Tapping Merchant.
Well, do you think who got more exposed, Werner or Johnson? Or do you think a lot of people I've been seeing on Twitter got pretty upset with Johnson, more than usual, from what I could tell? And Johnson does have a lot of fans.
Jack, I don't remember him putting a decent cross in. The only thing I think I saw him do was score a goal in the 129th, 118th minute. Well, and that's another thing. We should no way be near going into extra time against Tamworth. If that was a Premiership team, yeah, maybe I'll understand. But a non-league team going into extra time and having to bring on the big guns just to sort it out.
And that would be against the plan. They don't want to have to play 30 minutes. That would have been against the plan. They probably didn't expect to win 6-7-0. We wanted them to win 6-7-0, but they probably they're expecting to get over the line after 90 minutes.
But Jack, the thing is, right, those players on the pitch had more than enough experience. 90% of those players, 100% of those players have played in the Premiership. Granted, Rino hasn't played that many times, but he's still played in the Premiership. Kinski, I'm telling you now, he's taking Vicario's #1 spot. He's just quality.
Just before you move on to Kinski, Chris, I do want to ask you on Brennan Johnson. Look, everyone knows my opinion on switching players' positions. If they don't work out in the position you bought them for, you won't repurpose them. But you look at Johnson's goal yesterday, they come from him being sort of centrally, and a lot of people would argue he's not a right winger. He needs to play more centrally. We've done the same with Kulu. Do you think it could be the same with Johnson to get the best out of him, or do you just think he's just not good enough all-round game? Because Kulu can't cross the ball, to be fair to the guy.
See, last season I gave Johnson the benefit of the doubt because it was his first season, This season he's the 50 million tapping merchant.
Fair.
I'm sorry, but he is. David, I didn't see him do anything productive yesterday apart from his goal. The whole rest was over 118 minutes. He's done absolutely nothing.
No, I agree with you. DB, King Hoddle, just quickly, because I need to get a handle of this. King Hoddle and DB, look, I fully understand you both see things from difference of opinion, but look, you've both are frequent over here. You've both been in the chat together for a long time. Let's just dust it off, let's keep it civil and let's keep moving forward. Because to be honest with you, I like both of you. I think you're both great contributors. You always put in great comments and stuff like that. So it'd be a shame from me to see you guys fall out in front of my eyes. Please don't do that to me. You really upset me in 2025. Come on, guys. But Chris, moving on. Sorry, I cut across you. What were you saying about that?
Right, before we go any further, football is always about opinions. You're not going to agree with everybody. Let's just keep it civil, lads.
Yeah, 100%.
Right, but as I was saying, David, for me, Johnson, last season I gave him the benefit of the doubt. First season, adapting to the team and the way the team played. This season, there's no excuse. I don't care if he's got 12 goals this season and he's not a top scorer. He's the £50 million tapping merchant. Can't cross, can't beat his man, lazy to track back. Sorry, but I failed to see what Ange sees in him. Maybe another one who's got put pictures of Ange.
I struggle as well. I just find this boring going forward in general. I think we've made a huge mistake with the Harry Kane money. I think, we reinvested it into relegation fodder and it's really not doing the job for us. And the sad thing is we have to go and reinvest more money into the forward line to fix it now, which, would be ideal to fix other areas and stuff. It's really annoying, Chris.
David, there's only one player I will actually say out of that transfer money, which we got a good deal out of. I was going to say it's Archie Gray.
Yeah.
Archie Gray is absolutely magnificent. For an 18-year-old to step up as a centre-back when he's actually a central midfielder, that says it all. You see he wants to be there. And do you know what, David? Maybe you might disagree with me, but I think he could be our number 6.
Yeah, I think Archie Gray could easily be the number 6.
Sorry, my mic keeps...
David,
what about Archie Gray?
Yeah, Archie Gray be our number 6. Why not?
I think he could take Basuma's. I think at some point, if we get our center backs, he could challenge Basuma, right?
Yeah, or the number 8.
Or just challenge Basuma for a number 6 role, because that's where Basuma has been playing.
Do you know what, for me, I see a lot of people getting upset that Archie Gray is being played out of position, but I actually think for the future, I think it's going to benefit him in the long run playing CDM.
Yeah, David.
it's something that Ajax do. You know, they play their players in different positions, so they have understanding of what others need. So when he's in that CDM now that he's played centre back, he knows exactly what them centre backs are looking for in terms of cover.
See, you got to remember one thing. I know how much we hated Eric Dyer as a centre back, but don't forget he was a central defensive midfielder as well. So he knew what the role entailed. So the thing is, right, with Archie Gray, I think he'll be the ideal number 6 or the ideal number 8. So him and Bergwall in the centre pitch. Because I think Pat Matsard this season, his form's dipped. I don't know if that's because he's not playing with Bentoncourt as much as he was before.
There was a period where he was undroppable. You think he's dipped now, you know, kind of again?
I think it's when he's partnering with Basuma, because Basuma's always so far forward. I don't think Sar's comfortable sitting back. But as I said, Basuma is so on and off with his performances. The last 2 performances have been okay. But it's inconsistencies in the whole team. But as I said, there's only one player I don't ever want to see in a Spurs shirt again, and that's Rino. Yesterday was the last straw. It was the last kick. But nah.
I just can't wrap my head around why Ange Postecoglou picked them again, especially after calling them out against Rangers. If that's me, you know, I play a lot of Football Manager and FIFA. I just never play them again. Even if I've got players running on empty, I just do not play them again, you know. But look, that's just me. Maybe some people call me harsher than others.
Maybe it's benefit of the doubt, David. He gave him the benefit of the doubt to prove himself.
Do you know what, though, Chris, that benefit of the doubt? That benefit of the doubt eventually is going to catch up with Postecoglou and cost him his job. You know what I mean? And that's why I think he needs to develop that ruthless nature.
Yeah, he needs to stop dropping them and say, listen, until you can prove you're good enough, then maybe, yeah. But for me, no. But there's only one player I would say who's come in on the last few games and who's really, really impressed me, that's the new goalkeeper, Anthony Kingsley. What a goalkeeper. I think Vicario realised, shit, I'm in trouble now. I need to get back fit quickly because my place is quickly going. Because you can see how comfortable he's on the ball.
Yeah. Well, he's already, I think, Chris, wouldn't you say he's just already clear? Like, I mean, Vicario was better than anybody else we've had before, but he's already he already looks miles better than Vicario with ball at his feet.
He can catch. He can actually come up for a corner and look comfortable. He can distribute the ball. Some of his opinion of the ball he done against Liverpool was absolutely spectacular.
Isn't it more we just need a larger sample size of those saves though? That's where I think, you know, Vicario. I think Kinski has looked good so far. We don't have a large sample size of whether he can pull off world class saves.
And just quickly, I agree with Jack on that. I think when you look at his distribution, I think it's from that Liverpool game from the first 20 minutes, everyone could see streets ahead of Vicario. But also that Tamworth game with them long throw-ins, it was good to see if he can command his area better than Vicario in terms of coming out and collecting, and he's showing that. But I agree with Jack. It does come down to, can he pull off the world-class saves Vicario?
See, the acid test for Kinsley is Wednesday. No, sorry, Thursday against Arsenal. That is the acid test to see if he's good enough. But judging on his performances now, I think he's more than capable. I think Forster's in the bin now. That's it. Forster's done.
Well, his contract's up at the end of the year anyway, so he'll just be let go.
He's in the bin.
But Chris, looking ahead to the North London Derby, let's get your opinion, my man. I mean, how do you think we're going to fare? Because, you know, people are coming into it quietly confident off the back of Arsenal's recent performances, but I think they forget in the league, we've been very inconsistent and sometimes atrocious. You know, so how are you feeling coming into this North London Derby? Do you think we can take something away at the Emirates?
I'm delusional, so yeah.
Why? What gives you hope?
Yeah, okay. Look, if you notice our form, right, David, we have one good game, one bad game, then one good game. So we've had our one good game against Liverpool. We've had our bad game against Tamworth. So would you a good game against Arsenal? So ideally, yeah, I think we can beat them, especially when they ain't got Bakary shit at Saka. I mean,
Would you know what, Chris? That's what gives me hope. Because when you look at the last few North London derbies, it's usually him that causes us the most problems. It's him that we find hard to contain and deal with. With the fact that he's missing, I think gives us a huge opportunity. Because are they going to be as potent going forward? Hopefully not. But defensively, they're not as good as they were last year either. So, and like I said, the last North London derby was decided by a set piece, and Vicario got the blame for it. So, this one with Kinski, you're hoping he can just be enough to help us get something.
I have a gut feeling as well. Ange hasn't been totally honest with us about Romero and Van de Ven. I think you'll see one or both of them returning. I think one or both will return against Arsenal. I think he'd be very, very coy on them too. He said Dave Davis is definitely out. He's close, but he's definitely out. But he hasn't definitely ruled out Van de Ven or Romero.
Would you even play Davies if he did return? That's what Davis has done brilliant, thus far. But I wonder if you even would kind of throw him in straight away for Dragusin or for Gray. I'm not sure if you even would.
Do you know what? I have to say, since Dragusin had that bad game a few weeks ago where I really crucified him, he hasn't done too badly. He's done okay.
Do you know what? I think he was brilliant. I think he was brilliant against Liverpool. And look, he done his job against Tamworth, but I still need a larger size sample of them performances against Liverpool going forward.
Exactly. Jack, that's a difficult question. Well, Ben Davies, he can be consistent, but coming back from an injury, it may be too much of a risk.
That's my feeling. And, the pace of a North London derby, I wonder with Davis, he's defended brilliantly up until this point, but I wonder if he could even handle the pace.
Jack, also the state of our medical team, he's probably going to come on the pitch within 5 minutes be injured again. So it worries me slightly. So I think for Davis, when he does come back, I think giving him 15, 20 minutes every game just until he gets back up to speed will probably be ideal for him. But as I said, for me, we need now a centre forward to help Solanke. We need a left winger and a right winger, to be fair, and another centre back.
Well, look,
Colin Mawani, I haven't seen him play, so I can't say whether he's good, bad, average, another Werner in the making. I can't say that. Rashford, do you know? If I'm honest, I don't really want the guy. I can't stand him anyway. Jack Grealish, I'll take a chance on, but because we really should have signed Jack Grealish when we had the chance before Lee screwed us over.
Well, they didn't want to sanction the money on a youngster, and now they're sanctioning more than that on youngsters now. It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, but Moondog said, what?
Exactly that, David. We could have had him for less than what we're going to pay him on his wages now. But no, obviously not. It's Tottenham's way, isn't it? Wait till 5 years later when they're tripping the wages.
Yeah, see if we can get him in on loan when his career's on the nosedive. But Moondog says, big up Dave and Jack and Chris and chat. Big up Moondog. Hopefully you're keeping well. Let us know in the comments your thoughts on yesterday's game. And do you know what? I've been saving my Arsenal mug for the game this week, Chris, or Moondog. So I can't wait to whip it out. And look, I've no doubt it's going to annoy a few Arsenal fans who might gloss into the watch along, so I can't wait to use it. So thank you very much, Moondog.
Well, Dave, I have to say, watching AFTV last night in floods of tears was pure comedy gold. It gave me something to laugh about. It was like, just, when you're really just feeling annoyed at your team not performing properly, and you're frustrated and you really want to get some anger out, just go click on AFTV after they've lost the game, watch the meltdown. It's pure comedy gold.
Yeah. Totally.
It's spectacular. It's a spectacular meltdown.
Look, it's good to see their demise. It means life's getting back to somewhat normality, Chris, which is absolutely great to see. But Chris, have you anything else you want to speak about before we let you go, buddy? And by the way, I just want to say from myself and Jack, and I think there's many more people out there as well, because they did miss when you weren't here. It's great to see you getting back to yourself, Chris, getting back to full health and stuff like that. And great to see you back on here doing your thing, my man.
Well, Dave, to be honest with you, I'm still having the ups and downs as Spurs. More stable now, I think. To be honest with you.
But the way what I would say, Chris, is the fact that you're making it here regularly shows that you are getting into a better place, and I think there's something to take from that.
Definitely. It's
good routine.
More that my confidence is slowly coming back again to be on camera and be in front of everybody again. So it's always a good
sign. What, Chris? I hope
you're one of the best ones on camera, man. You're one of the best ones.
But the thing is, 2 wins in a row gives me a bit more confidence. If we lose on Wednesday against the Scum, it's going to be a explosive. I think it might be an explosive X-rated chat fan show on Monday.
I think they like any version of you, man. I think they like all versions of
I was going to say,
Yeah.
I think me and you have an unhealthy relationship with Tottenham. I think I'm a bit like you. My mood does depend on how Tottenham are doing, to be quite frank.
Well, David, just because you weren't here last week after the Newcastle game, David, I suffered horrendously at work. I was in a bad mood for a whole week. The whole week I was in a foul mood.
Well, I don't blame you. You live up there, you know. You have to take it on the chin. Let me and Jack can just switch off and turn everything off. And if we want to ignore it, we can. You can.
David, I was in a stinking mood the whole week. Tottenham ruined my whole weekend and my whole week. All in one. It started off with the Bournemouth game, ruined my Thursday. Then it comes to ruining my Saturday against Newcastle. I went, that's it. 2 games in a row. You've just ruined more or less 2 weeks of my life.
Well, look, Chris, hopefully...
It's good to be back. It's good to be back.
No, it's great to have you back, my man. I've missed you. I really have. I like your straight talking.
I forgot my whole housekeeping. Look, everybody smash a like and get your super chats in and ask any questions you want. And I have one question for the chat as well. Who would you prefer to see as your number 1 goalkeeper, Anthony Kingsley or Vicario? Get your thoughts in.
Well, chat, let us know. Chris, it's been an absolute pleasure as always, my man. Look, you know, you ever need that or you ever need to reach out and chat or whatever, you know, you've got my number. You know my phone's open to you, buddy. So don't be afraid to contact me. And look, hopefully the North London Derby can provide us with, you know, another win and, you know, more positives moving forward, Chris.
Hey, come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. Legend, Chris.
Big up
the goat.
See, people love the guy. You just can't, even if you disagree with the guy, people absolutely love him. And it's absolutely great to see him. Guys, make sure you answer his question. Do you want to see Vicario moving forward, or do you want to see Kinski moving forward? Let us know. We've got Dermot in the back end. We'll just take a couple more comments and we'll bring him in and let him have his stay. We've got this from Iceman. But will return, but let's hope they don't return too soon, as the 6th and the 8th of February we have Liverpool and Villa semi-final next round of the FA Cup. Could be another huge week, that one for Tottenham Hotspur, Iceman. Good to see you, buddy. Hopefully you're keeping well. We have this from 2 Marks Talk Tottenham. Great name. With all the marks around, I'm surprised it hasn't been done.
Crazy army.
Now, so fair play to you. Big up, Dave and Super Jack. Hope you're both well. Mark Cook. Oh, big up, Mark Cook. So, who's the other Mark you've teamed up with then to do the? And are you doing a podcast, or have you just changed your name or whatever? I presume the fact that you've changed it, you're doing Tottenham content. So please let me know. I'll do my best to promote it for you. Tell people to get over, have a listen and stuff like that. Big up, Cookie. Hopefully you're keeping well, my man. By the way, your last name is Cook. Can you cook? I've always wondered that. I just presume because your last name is Cook, you can't cook. But please let me know. Big up, Scotty Hynam. Great to see you as always, buddy. How's life treating you as well? Please let me know. I know you're always busy working and that, so let me know. Then we've got this from Gio Ria. It's big up, lads. Really excited for Wednesday. Hoping to see more of Mikey Moore this week. He was missed, in my opinion. Look, I do agree with you. It's great to have Mikey Moore back. I do think he offers something different, but do I think he's going to start in North London Derby? I don't. I think it will be Son with a view of Mikey Moore maybe coming off the bench, Gio. But great to see you. We have Raven, Rajo. Hit the likes, guys. This is a great channel. Look, some people think it is, some people don't. So I really appreciate you guys who do think it is. Thank you very much. Big up, Raven. Raven with rage. That's usually me. Big up. And then we have Jason T. The Gooners always bring the fire when they play us at home. I'll be watching the game behind the sofa. And look, that's one thing I don't get away from. I'm big enough, I'm bold enough, and I'm ugly enough to know what happens around the North London Derby. I've seen more than enough of them in my life. I've seen us go into them with more confidence than Arsenal. It'd be a difficult game. I've seen us go in there with no confidence to pull out a result. The thing is, you just don't know, Jason. I definitely agree with you. To be honest with you, if me and Jack were sort of streaming from the same place, I think there would probably be plenty of times me and Jack would be viewing in from behind the sofa, Jason. Big yourself up, my man. I really appreciate the comment. But look, it is time to bring on the one and only Dermotron. Let's hear what he has to say. I'm going to bring him on now. Just bear with me. Let me bring him in here. Good evening, Dermo. How are you, sir?
Not too bad. Can I actually say Chris is an absolute bloody legend?
Yeah.
Had the pleasure of meeting him a couple of years ago. We had a few drinks that night, which I still don't remember leaving the pub we went into, to be fair. Was doing well till we got into the tequilas, and after that, then it just went a bit blank for me. I do remember walking into a wall, but I don't know if I did that the night or in the morning. Still can't remember. But Chris is an absolute legend. and great to see him back. And, you know, he is rarely missed when he's not here. So everyone, please show you appreciation. He is a legend. He really is. But how are you two guys?
Doing the best we can. You know, we're
Mm.
still relieved that we got over the line against Tamworth. It is quite a relief that we don't have to be so doom and gloom. You know, we got over the line. We got the job done. I think, you know, the big debate today has sort of been, Dermotron, whether we read into it or not, whether there are lessons learned or, you know, some sort of points to be taken from that game, you know, things that we could try to take away from. Some people think not. Some people think there are. Some people think there are a ton. Some people think there are very few. It's hard to say, really. But then the other thing is, you know, of course, North London Derby, Everton game, you know, upcoming. We got some huge Premier League games ahead. So, it's just whether, I guess, you're going into this game confident or not. We saw your channel prediction. You gave a 1-1. We were shocked.
Yeah, I couldn't. I just, these games are so unpredictable. Everton, I think we're going to smash them 4-0 because Everton is shit. Arsenal is shit, but these games always end up in a draw somewhere. And I'd rather get a point away from home than not picking up any points. Look, on Tamworth, to be fair, as embarrassing as it was not to score in 90 minutes, and yes, it is embarrassing. I mean, that game was as boring as I've ever done a watch along in my life. I mean, at one point, I was making up my own songs just to get through the game because it was that
Let's
boring.
pretend we scored a goal.
Yeah.
Let's pretend we scored.
I mean, I started making up saying Tamworth are on the way to Wembley. I mean, that was one. And then I started calling Werner a plank of wood. Because that's what I refused to name him because he was absolutely brutal. I mean, he couldn't score. If there was an open goal, he couldn't even hit an empty net. He's that bad. But look, we're in the fourth round, and that's what all that matters, isn't it? It's being in that fourth round draw. And as embarrassing as yesterday was, I don't think we can get any lower than that. That's low. That for me is scraping the barrel. But we've got Arsenal. It's a North London derby, and you've got to be up for it, haven't you? North London is lily white and always will be. So you've got to beat the old enemy. You have to. But
look, it's a huge game. Let's see what happens. Yeah. Just quickly, Chris. No, none of us actually live in the UK. I live in Ireland. Jack lives in America. But we will be over for the Crystal Palace game in May. So it may. Yeah, I think it's.
Yeah, May.
May, end of April, start of May. We'll be over there. So if there is anybody, you know, that does want to meet up, I did say with Jack, you know, we promise we will get down there super early this time. So, and we'll let you guys know where we are if people want to come and see us and stuff like that. Because some of the last games, you know, aka Nick, if you're watching, we've ran late getting there. So, you know, this time around, we will try and get down there nice and early. We'll plonk ourselves up somewhere. And if you guys want to come and have a conversation, you know, feel free. To be honest, I've never really done it before because I just don't think any of you probably wanted to come and have a conversation with me or something like that. But if you do, you know, it's there. But Dermo, you know, the 1-1 you predicted, did you go with your head this time or is it just the nerves taking over of the North London Derby?
It's more nerves taking over for the North London Derby. Look, my heart always goes for a Spurs win, but I was so nervous predicting a win. I thought, do I? Done. I know very close went with the 2-0 win, but I thought, do you know what? I have to go for a draw. And I think that's what it will. If we can get a point there, I think that's a good point, by the way. I think that's a good point. Yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, and it's a good point to go into that Everton game with a little bit of confidence. Everton have a new manager. They're probably going to look to get a new manager bounce under David Moyes again. So that's not going to be an easy game either, by the way. But we've got players coming back. We've got Richie back. Davis is coming back. We've got players coming back before the end of January as well in QT and Van der Ven. Do you know, we are getting there. And I think we've seen the back end of this hellhole we've been in. And I think once we see the back end of it, I think we'll see a very different Tottenham, a very different side. Plus with the Kulu, which I think will happen, Dave. I'm hearing something similar what you've heard. But what I'm hearing is that he's not really keen on Juventus that bit. I've heard a bit different from you.
Oh, you're on about Colin Moani.
Yeah, Kogo and Mary. I've heard a little bit different that he doesn't want Juventus, he wants Spurs because of Ange.
Oh, I haven't heard anything. I'm just going off what the reports that are put out there. And I don't think I have an extra source. I don't.
No. I've heard a little different that he wants to come to Tottenham. The only problem is the obligation. Spurs want an option to buy, not an obligation to buy. So
that's what you think is holding up the deal.
Yeah, that's what I was told this evening. That is holding up the deal. It's either they want an option, not an obligation. So, but how are talking? So
I understand what you're saying. The reason why I'm a bit skeptical on that one is because, if there was willingness on Mawani to come in, why wouldn't they have him in here for the North London Derby to fill out that bench, knowing the lack of options we have and look to get the deal done? That's why I do believe the reports that Mawani does prefer Juventus over Tottenham, and that's why they haven't got him in by now. Because it was only after the Liverpool game, or was it before the Liverpool game, where Postecoglou seemed cocksure that a forward player was coming in the next few days.
Yeah, he does want to. It's just an obligation to buy. Spurs don't want to be caught with another Dembele or another Werner again, and you can't blame him for that.
Yeah,
you cannot blame him for that. And Daniel Levy, I think, is going over to Paris in the next day or in the next 24 hours to talk to PSG to get this over the line. Maybe he could have picked up that number 22 from Tamworth yesterday. I thought had a really good game, by the way. But it is Tottenham. We always go through hell, but we're in the fourth round, and look, long may it continue. And we get a good result against Arsenal, we get a good result against Everton, and things look a bit rosy.
Yeah.
Again.
Oh, well, hopefully, Dermo. Dermo, Richarlison, how great is it to have him back? And me and Jack, you heard us having a debate at the start of the show. Does he have to come back and make an immediate impact to try? Because you got to remember, before he went injured, the opinion around him, the opinion that the fans have around him wasn't great. He wasn't in a good light. So does he have to come back and hit the ground running and prove a point? And do you think he's capable?
He has got to come back and hit the ground running. Is he capable? No. I've always said it, and I consistently will say it. He's a small fish in a big pond at Tottenham. He needs to be at a club like Burnley or probably like Crystal Palace or some team like that, low in the league, where he can be the vocal point, where he can be the player. A bit like when he was at Everton, that can build a team around Richarlison. I feel him going to a bigger club, I think he's probably a bit overwhelmed. I love the guy. Don't get me wrong. I love his shithousery. I love the way you see him on the bench when we play Liverpool. He's the first one to stand up. And his passion. He loves the club. His passion for the club. I adore that. I just wish all our players were like that. But I just think, do you know what? For your own career, I think you need to be at a smaller club where I think you can be the main man. You can be the vocal point. And I think at Tottenham, he struggles with not being the vocal point. And, and I just think that, and I love the guy. Don't get me wrong. I love Richarlison. I just love his shithousery. But
apparently he's very determined to come back and prove a point. And apparently Ange Postecoglou hasn't given up on him yet. So if you put the two of them together, it makes for interesting reading. But let's wait and see. We've heard all this come out before about players, right? And they've never, Basuma, for instance, after the Chelsea game, I'm sorry, guys, I'm going to now show you my best. And then Rangers, he puts in that performance. You know what I mean? So it's sort of hard to trust, stuff that comes out. Just quickly, Davy Shire's gifted out 5 channel memberships. Fair play to you, Davy. Absolute legend. Really appreciate the support, brother. Let me just find out who they've gone
Lewis Parks, Immortal Worm, Newcastle United Clips, and then Be Kind Mofos, and then Do Lie. Thank you, by the way, Davey. Hopefully everything's all right. David Army, going to have to start competing with the Mark Army. The Mark Army seems to be growing and growing and growing. But big up to you, Mr. Shire. Got over the line, on Sunday, going into the North London Derby. It seems like Spurs fans are relatively, to a degree, considering it is a North London Derby, people are going into it kind of relaxed, man. They don't seem to be that panicked about it, whether it's because Arsenal are kind of dropping points, their season is looking a bit iffy, and also just, I guess Spurs getting over the line, and, the Liverpool game probably has given us a little bit of a sense of confidence. So right now, in a little bit of a good mood. It seems just, a little bit still, you could say. It's like calm waters at the moment, but at any moment, who knows, the waters could get rough again with Spurs. Looking forward to Wednesday. But yeah.
Looking forward to it. It's a big game. Let's wait and see what happens. Look, I love these North London derbies. I only hate them after if we lose, but everything else around it, I absolutely love. And Davy Shire also says, Dave and Jack organising a trip over in April. May look forward to seeing you, Davy. Well, look, Davy, if if I'm not going to tell you what to do, but if you were in around there over the course of the weekend around the Palace game, you know, I will be there and Jack will definitely be there. It's a bit hard for Jack to fly in earlier in that because, you know, he's from America, right? It costs an absolute fortune and stuff. But look, let me know what your travel details are and we'll see if we can sync up and work something out because it'd be great to see you, Davey. You know, we've bonded over YouTube and that, but we haven't met in person, so it'd be absolutely great to see you for sure, my man. Absolute legend. Dermo, let's get your opinions on Alfie Dorrington's loan move. Do you think it was the right thing for all parties?
I think so. I agree what you and Jack said before we got the fans on. I couldn't say any more than what you two said. I think it's right for him, and I think as long as he can get football into his legs and start next pre-season with a absolute belter, and then he can be with Mikey Morris. I think he's a talent. He really is a talent, and I love him to do well. And I want to see all our young players do well. So look, good move for him. Let him get a few minutes into his leg. Let him get used to first team football and then come back in the summer and really start afresh and push and really push for a start because I think he deserves it.
And what do you make of Chris's question regarding the goalkeeper situation? Are you that much convinced by Kinski that you would play him ahead of Vicario when Vicario returns?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, Kinski all day long.
Kinski's the flavor of the month, flavor of the week.
Yeah, I am a massive fan of his. I just love the way he goalkeepers. He's commander of his area. He reminds me a little bit of. There's a mixture between Ray Clements in him and a bit of Pat Jennings and Ray Clements of him in the back. And there's also Tadej Schmeichel in him. He really just commands his own area. And you will never catch him on his near post because he's just makes himself so big. And you saw that against Liverpool when somebody went for the near post and he made himself so big. There was no way the ball's getting past him. He's quick on his feet. He's always looking for the quick pass out to get the moves moving quickly. I think he's our new number one. I think Vicario has a right fight in his hands. But why this will work, why it didn't work down the road, is because Ange would actually balance it out better. Because he would say, right, you can play a certain amount of games, you're playing a certain amount of games, and then the best man win. But yeah, I think Kinksy all day long. And don't forget Keeley. He's another one that's coming through the ranks. The young Irish.
Are you worried about maybe their pathway kind of being blocked up a little bit by, Kinski's so young. He's Keeley's age, if not even younger than Keeley. And then with Luca Gunter as well, he's quite young. You kind of look at Vicario, he's not old. He's only 27, 28, something like that. You'd probably think that it'd be difficult for them to get into the Spurs team anytime soon.
Can I just step in on that quickly? I think you look at Kinski and Keeley, they're actually the same age. And I'm going to be fair here. As much as I'm rooting for Keeley to come through and stuff like that, there's night and days in the difference of ability, From watching Josh Keeley, even at under 21 level, he was suspect under set pieces. His loan move last year at Barnet, sometimes suspect with set pieces or failed to judge the ball coming over the top, sometimes getting caught out to that regard. But he is good with his feet. Is he as good as Kinski with his feet? No. So I do think it is beneficial to keep Keeley out on loan and continue to develop him. Because do I think he can get to a Premier League ability? Yes, of course he can. But to be fair, I do think the right decision was made, to keep Keeley out on loan and bring in Kinski. I think there is night and day between the ability right now, for sure. I'm just going to be fair.
No, I agree with that. I agree.
I don't want to hear anyone say, Dave, you're biased ever again in the future.
No.
Go on, Dermo.
Look, I love Keeley to do well, but I do agree everything we just said, Dave. I mean, look, we are slightly biased when it comes to Keeley. Of course, we want our one of our own to do well, and maybe that will make good for us for the Ireland side as well, for the future and take over from Kelleher and players like that. But I think they will be blocked a little bit, so I think they may have to look for a club elsewhere in the future. But Kinski for me, I think he's brilliant. I love Vicario, but I think Kinski's more level-headed in the box than Vicario is. I think he's a bit more shrewd about himself. He won't make stupid mistakes where Vicario does make the odd error. I don't think you get that from Kinski himself. I think he's a very shrewd mentality goalkeeper. He loves the big occasions. Where it does get to Vicario a little bit, it doesn't to him. It's like Kinski's made of ice. His veins, ice in his veins, like.
I think 100%. I think for me, this North London derby will show me the last sort of questions I have around Kinski. He's going to be forced to pull off one or two worldy saves, you know, and how he handles that atmosphere. Like I said, if people think it's going to be easy and you think he can't hear what's being shouted at him behind the goals, think again. I was a part of that, you know, behind the goal when Fabianski was in goals. And if you think he wasn't turning around, listening and smiling and doing all this back, think again, you know. So it'll be interesting to see how Kinski does handle that. And I think I will get the sort of last few questions. And we've got Gary Becks. He says, I agree with Derm. Kinski will become number one, but Vicario has the edge on shot stopper. But Kinski's footwork is another level. But it's pots and pans between them. And absolutely love that. Big up, Gary. Great comment. And look, I think many people sort of agree with that. I think that's where me, myself, and Jack are at personally, you know, as well. But, you know, we are still want to see what the shot stopping ability is like. Don't get me wrong, pulled off 2 great saves in the Liverpool game, but you know, let's see if he can do it in another big game back to back. That's the true test. You know, can you maintain them levels? That's the true test of a player. Dermo, last question I have for you this evening, on my end anyway. Bergvall or Maddison in that midfield, you know, against Arsenal midweek? Because I think Johnson will be dropped. I think Kulu will go out to the right, which frees up a spot in the midfield. So who are you going with?
Can I just say quickly, Johnson needs to take a hard look at himself and actually.
Hang on, you were his big fan a few weeks ago.
No, I am.
I am. Where are we at with Johnson now?
Hang on, I'm still his biggest fan. I'm still think he's a big talent, but he needs to take a look at himself and start skinning his man. Please.
I think Dave and I just need to criticize Johnson, but then just say we're his biggest fan, you know, afterwards. And I think we'll probably just get less criticism.
I just feel
we'll just lie and we'll just say like, oh, we're just coming from his biggest fans.
Look, I will criticize Johnson when he needs criticism, and I will praise him when he needs praise. I think he's got the talent. I think he can become a great player for us. I think he will be. He just maybe he's one of these late players. Look, on your question before I dig myself any more holes and can't dig myself out of them. On the question, Bergville all day long. Philip Brady said to me last summer when we bought him, he said, Dermot, watch this player. He will become a great player for Tottenham. And we're seeing signs of that already. And the Godfather's never wrong.
No, never.
I've got the horse's head to prove that because he does send them to me quite regularly. But Bergville for me all day long. Maddison, for me, if Maddison wants this England to get into the England squad so much with the World Cup coming up next year, he would be putting in performances after performances after performances. Bergville is 18 years of age and he's already outperforming a seasoned professional. And Archie Gray as well. Both 18 years of age and they're outperforming seasoned professionals. The likes of Maddison, international players. If Maddison wants his World Cup wants to be in the World Cup squad, he needs to get the finger out of his arse and start putting in performances. For me, stick Bergville in there on Wednesday, and he will show Maddison how it's done.
Well, I just don't want to hear a surprised Maddison when he doesn't make the squad again, like he's been in previous ones where he's shocked. I mean, all he's got to do is just sit in a room with him for 5 minutes and I can point out exactly why he's not in that squad, done and dusted, and it might remotivate him. Big up, Paddy Harnett. Good to see you. Says, bottom line is we're into the next round, no matter the performance we're in it. Could have been a hell of a lot worse. And look, I think many people today are probably coming around to that. It's like, thank God we're in the next round. However, I maintain it is disgraceful not to break them down within 90 minutes and that we had to bring on Solanke, Son, Kulu, Bergvall and Jed Spence to try and do that. That is completely disgraceful and I stand by that. And it goes back to the point why I never wanted to sell Harry Kane in the first place, because he puts points on the board, and now going forward, we're absolutely atrocious to watch, and it drives me absolutely mad, Paddy. Let me know where you're on that though, because people go, oh, they were the second highest scorers in the league. Yeah, we would be if we beat Man City 4-0, United 3-0, Villa, and another 4 by West Ham, but we don't do it on a consistent basis, and that's where people get really frustrated, and that's where me and Jack get frustrated, because, you know, we sit there and we're like, look how many chances we had today to put them to bed, and we didn't take them, or look how many good breakaways we had, 3-on-2s. We can't even string a pass together. And what's even more embarrassing, actually, now that I think about it, Paddy, is the fact that the forward players couldn't link up between them. We're talking about 16th position Tamworth in the National League.
Yeah.
For God's sake, it's like playing, you know, Limerick FC or something like that. Not even. Limerick FC is probably a step up. It's like playing your local village, Paddy. It's disgraceful, but we're true. And that does bring down my stress levels a little bit today. But Dermo, I want to give you a chance to plug your great channel, my man. What's going on over there?
Yeah, firstly, thanks to Paddy Harnett for the Man City ticket. I am getting it tomorrow, so don't worry.
Did he sort you out?
I'm so looking forward to going to Man City, and I'm looking forward to going to the Palace game with you guys as well. Might go over for a few days and go and enjoy me and my little holiday. Lads on tour. What happens on tour stays on tour. So they say. Or is that Vegas? I never know. One or the other. Yeah, if you like what I have to say, come over to THFC till I die. There's me, there's Tequila, there's Colin, and there's Khan, and we're getting a new member, a young lad that I know who's a Spurs fan. He's a young lad. We're going to get him on a few times, get his views. And there is a few of us in Gorey. There's 3 Spurs fans, so I'm really delighted over that. We're growing as a fan base in Gorey and Wexford, so we are growing. But yeah, if you like what I have to say, we're past 2K. We're now in the march for 3. So yeah, please come over and give us a like and support. And thank you to Raven as well for putting in your lovely comment. I'm very humbled by that. So thank you, Raven, for your kind words. But look, I just want to leave
a hero over here, Dermo. You're becoming like Chris. People love you.
Oh, I don't know why, because I really don't know why, because I took after
I do. I think they love your enthusiasm, regardless of what's going on around Tottenham or other people's opinions. I think you're
the love and light.
And stuff. Yeah. So big up, Dermo. But Dermo, we do need to crack on.
Yeah,
so I appreciate your time this evening, my man, and we'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Yeah, I see you for the North London build-up, and everyone get on, love each other, and big up Ryan, who's on next. You're good, man. Thank you very much. But Anjin Trust, come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
We will win.
Well done as always, Dermo. Well done as always.
Legend. See you soon, my man. Have a good one.
See you soon. Bye-bye.
Guys, you're treating Dermo like he's a cult hero lately. Big up. Fair play to you all. Fair play. We got a couple more comments, and then we get on the one and only Rino, and I presume he's probably going to be the last guest this evening, unless anyone else wants to make it known that they want to come on. We'll try and accommodate you. We've got this from Paddy Harron. It says, it is, pal, but the FA Cup is a different animal. We all know this. That is a fair point. Look, it is known for its shocks, to be fair. So plus on Astro, the ball does not travel as easy, which is a fair point. I used to hate playing on the Astro turf, and plus you can't make them sliding tackles there that I like doing on the grass pitch. He says, not an excuse, I know, but still there. No, look, I fully agree with you. I do fully agree. And says some players are just not good enough. I do agree. And that's my biggest point. I think the biggest takeaway is certain players that had question marks around their fight for Tottenham Hotspur, I think got answered. And I think they're disgraceful, to be quite frank. To carry themselves the way they did against Tamworth is disgraceful. But big up, Paddy. And you know what? This guy doesn't get enough credit around the Spurs community. He does a lot for people, a lot of good stuff for people and stuff like that. So fair play to you, Paddy. Keep doing what you're doing around here, my man. You're a good bloke. Absolute legend. We've got Diego Cruz. Solanke looked knackered versus Tamworth. I don't think he would be anywhere near 100% against Arsenal. But this is my big frustration. This is so frustrating.
Why did we have to play him?
Yeah, he should just never have came off the bench. I would have even put on Lancashire yesterday over Solanke. I do have that at Postecoglou, but that's minuscule. But, it just annoys me that other players. And, this is where if I'm Solanke, Kulu, son, I'm going to get pissed off as well. It's like, guys, we've carried the can this far. You can see we need a rest. The one opportunity where we should be given that 90-minute rest, we've had to come on and save your ass yet again. And for me, this is where I think the dressing room really need to pull them in, sit them down, and get some proper open-air conversations. I think at Tottenham, it's all too nice to sit there. Oh, don't mind about it, buddy. Well done, arm around the shoulder. I'm sorry. Over the last few years, that's what we've been led to believe that the whole world should be like. And to a certain degree, yes. But at the end of the day, tough love, especially at elite level sports, is what gets the best out of people. And we need to develop that at Tottenham Hotspur. Then we have Jason Bell. Big up, everyone. Rough day yesterday, but we survived. But this is the problem as well. Look, I'm delighted we survived, and don't get me wrong. Sort of like the fact that we survived, it sort of annoys people even more when we get it done the way we get it done, right? But I'm sick of just surviving. I feel like I'm treading water constantly, up a creek without a paddle, and my legs are tired, my arms are tired. There's only one thing, one way it's going to go, all right? One way it's going to end. And big up, Jason Bell, good to see you. And then we have this from Davey Shire as well, gifted out another channel membership. You're too nice, Davey. You're too nice. Who's that gone to, Jacko?
To the round table talk. Love it. Absolutely love it. Thank you, Davey Shire. Very, very generous of you. Like Dave said, Rhino is the next one, but there is still room left. So if Roundtable Talk, you want to come on, make a debut, feel free to. But anybody else, it's also been gifted a membership by the one and only Davey Shire. Take advantage of it. Take advantage of his generosity and feel free to make a debut. No better time than tonight. Rhino could be the last guest. Be a shame if that were the case. But, like Dave said, fan show is coming back for more of a regular schedule. People are busy. Totally understand. Also, after that game against Tamworth, we're kind of only just building up for the North London Derby now. So I imagine that hopefully the next fan show could be a lot busier. But yeah, people wanted to come on, have their say, certainly welcome to. But thank you
At
so
the
much,
end of the day,
Davey.
guys, this is just for you. So, if you do want to come on and have your say, now's the time and stuff. Or if you
It's a time for Dave and I to shut up usually.
or if you think there's, we need to change it up a little and do something differently with the fan show and stuff, let us know, guys. We're always open to suggestions. So feel free to put them in there. But big up, Mr. Shire. Absolutely legend. You're too kind. Big up, Berbatov, halftime smoke. Great to see you, my man. Hopefully you're keeping well. He says Tyler's in here. He's calling Tyler. Maybe he wants Tyler to come on. I don't know, but I don't see Tyler there. But big up, Dan. Good to see you, my man. Roundtable talk. If you do want to come on, and if the link is up in the community section, feel free. Big up, Simon Coley, Mr. Edwardson, Chris Antonio. He loves this Spurs channel, even though he's an Arsenal fan. But good to see you. Big up, Joseph Tyler as well. Can't blame the picture. Spurs are a much fitter team, and should have been able to cope with the surface. Do you know what? For me, I just don't think we used the pitch to our best ability. But maybe it's my perception, because I sat there and I was saying to Jack yesterday, fuck me, look at the size of that pitch. It's huge. Why aren't we using the width, switch and play, running the legs off them? But then when I was playing pro clubs last night, Sam was like, well, you know what? I don't know what you're talking about, Dave. I thought that pitch was really small. So, I don't know. Maybe it was just the camera angle I was watching at. I'm not sure. But big up, Joseph. We also have Reese in the house. Good to see you, Reese. Good to see you, my man. Sebastian F as well. Great to see you as always. We also have Tyler in the house. Great to see you, Big T, my man. Hopefully you're keeping well. Absolute legend. And then Lynchy 616 as well, as always. Let's hope Yang has a good impact. Another one I think disappointed that he, didn't make the squad yet. Yesterday, I think it's a shame, especially when you've seen the performances of other players. I think this is where Postecoglou needs to get on top of it quickly. I think, he's got the answers of certain players. I think he's got to stop putting the trust in them and start bringing through some of the youngsters. I think he needs to be a bit braver in that regard because, like I said, I think, don't get me wrong, I think persisting with them, it's an admirable quality to have. However, I do think it's one that's going to backfire and cost him his job eventually if he continues to do it, because you will suffer cup exits somewhere along the line that fans will not be happy about. That's what got fans questioning him in the first place when he put his faith into the wrong players last year against Fulham. So, my point stands, and that's why I think he just needs to be a bit more ruthless and say, look, I don't care how much you cost the club. I don't care what wages you're on. Yes, you can collect them and go and live your life, but you won't be playing football at Tottenham Hotspur. You go and train with the under-21s. So, I think Postecoglou could do with, having a bit of backbone to a degree and, saying that to these players. And also big up Matty Byam as well. Great to see you. We're not losing Wednesday night. Absolutely love that. And effing hell, great to see you as well, guys. Great to see you. Look, let's bring in Rino. Let's hear what he has to say. I almost wish I started his first comment in the day. But Rino, how are you, my man? You said in the first comment, I'm going to paraphrase here, even if Postecoglou wins a trophy, you still want him out.
Yeah.
Why?
It's the same shit, just a different week, mate. We should have absolutely, if we had anybody else, right, even if I could have probably been put in charge, or Rino could have been put in charge of that game yesterday and could have got more of a tune out of him and killed the game off in 90 minutes. It's an absolute joke, mate.
Here's where I'm going to pose a question to you, and it's just a different sort of question. I can understand, your thinking behind that. I'm not going to break you for that. But other managers, Pochettino to a certain degree towards the end of his tenure, Jose Mourinho and Conte, when they made changes and they were relying on some of individuals around the squad, we've seen the same things happen in Cup. So at what point do we stop blaming the manager and actually question the players and their hunger and a desire for these sort of games?
I'll stop blaming managers, yeah, right? When we actually beat a crap team who got battered. Let's get it right though, Davo, yeah? Right? Barnet smashed them 7-0 not long ago.
Yeah, no, I agree. I fully agree. Look, I haven't made excuses. I was angry yesterday. I was like, look, these guys are 16th or 19th in the National League. It's not like they're on confidence, in form and stuff like that, And yeah, they knocked out a couple of League One opponents on the run to this, but we should still have more than enough. I fully agree with you on that. But my point is, you play Football Manager, right? You play a lot of it as far as I'm aware, yeah? If you're drawn against them, you're making a host of changes, but you know yourself, it doesn't come down to that. You don't need tactics to beat them. It comes down to the players having the right attitude in these games, no?
Well, no, because it's the same sort of thing as every other game that we talk about, Dave.
Okay. What do you mean?
We get tactically outclassed by shitter managers because they're more tactically able to adapt where we're not.
So you think Postecoglou got outclassed by their manager yesterday tactically?
Yes, definitely. That's sad to say, but it's true.
Okay, look, fair enough. That's your opinion. I don't think so personally. I think, do you have any criticisms of Werner, Johnson, Madison, Basuma, players like that who were selected, to go out there? Because do you not think it's embarrassing on them that they're National League level and they struggle? That's not down to Postecoglou's management.
Well, look, I don't like Werner. He better foxtrot Oscar out of the club quicker than you can say anything else because he shouldn't have ever been brought back. He should never been brought back, Davo. He should never ever been.
No, I agree. But if you think Postecoglou was tactically outclassed, that means then you have no criticism for the players. You believe it's down to tactics only.
No, I don't just blame just the tactics. He was tactically outclassed, yes, but you can also you can't just blame it on just one person all the time. The players, Johnson can't do anything. He'd be. Do you know what? Right? I think this is going to sound stupid to say, right?
Nothing's ever stupid. It's your opinion, my man.
He's got shit pace for days, yeah. That we all know he's got. He'd be better playing that right back.
Johnson.
He really would. He really would.
He's useless. I don't rate him. I've never rated Johnson.
And Werner, well, I've already said what I want to say about Werner. And then Solanke, like, having to bring him on. Someone who I don't rate anyway to help us win a game. Oh, my God. I would rather have had Will Lancashire coming in.
Yeah, why do you think Will Lancashire wasn't given any minutes yesterday? Because I think the majority of the Spurs fans, I think I could go and say everybody was expecting Will Lancashire to play at least some part.
Look, I'm gonna go one step further than that though, Dave. I'm gonna actually trump everyone on this one. I wanted him to start the flaming game.
Oh no, I think most people would you. I put him in my predicted lineup to start. I think most people agree with you. But what I'm trying to ask you, Rino, is why do you think he didn't get any minutes? He didn't even come off the bench.
I just don't like him. It's the only reason.
Do you think the red card at Galatasaray has maybe tinted Ange's view of him, that he feels like he can't trust them?
I just don't think that Ange likes any young players. He wants his players in, but then he also accepts club signing players. Like he's a yes man. He is a total yes man. He's got a cult following all the way from up here back down to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. It's ridiculous, mate.
Why is it a cult follower? What makes it a cult follower? Is it not okay for people to be Ange in just because they disagree with you? Does it really make it?
Not about that. It's not about that, Dave. Right? It's more about that people just adore him, yeah, right, and will not even die on a hill. I can't even say that, but will just literally just back him until we get relegated. That's the kind of fan base we've got at the moment.
Do you know what? I think look, I don't agree that it's a cult. Are there people that are blindly behind Ange Postecoglou? Yes. But then you also have people like me, Ryan, who, look, I saw what he done at Celtic. I witnessed it with my own eyes. I know if we get this right and you give him the right squad, this will work and fans will enjoy winning this way and putting points on the board. So that's why I'm still behind Ange Postecoglou, because to be fair to me, I spoke about not selling Harry Kane. I spoke about the problems it was going to cause us. I spoke about that we weren't going to invest the money right, and we haven't. I spoke last summer about the transfer window coming back to haunt us. I was on the last word on Spurs, and I said, I'm not happy with the window, with the signings we've made. You are going to see so much inconsistencies, and it's going to frustrate Tottenham fans because we're not going to meet what Postecoglou has said his goals, and some of the senior players in the squad said their goals are, which is to win trophies. So you have fans like me who've seen the problems, have spoke about the problems ahead of time. Now we're in them. And that's why I'm still behind Ange Postecoglou, because I don't think we pushed on enough in the summer transfer window. And I don't think we've given him the right forward line to work with. Yes, you can sit there and say about him working with the players that the club have brought on and that he's okay with it. What's the other alternative? To say he doesn't want to work with any of these players and then he sacked that Tottenham Hotspur? The reality is there has to be some understanding. No, but you have called me yes men frequently, and I think what I'm saying to you, Rino, is there has to be an understanding that in order for any manager to work at a football club, there has to be an element of them being a yes man. No one's going to give you a job if you're not going to follow their orders, right? Simple as.
Yeah, I get that, right? But then there's only so much. We've had so many yes men, yeah, right, in the past, and I'm not including Conte or Mourinho in either of those two, not them two, right? But most of the other managers, and I'll even put Poch down to it up to a point, right? Especially by the end of it, yeah, right. But I'm a big lover of Poch, right? I love Poch. I will die on that hill and until the day he dies. I do not care. I love the guy. I will never wish anything bad on the guy. I hope he actually comes back one day and actually does a better job, right, than what he did, but with a different ownership. Because, right, I'm not just Ange out, I'm Levy out.
Yeah.
I want them both gone. But going back onto the point you were saying, though, Davo, right, where you were saying, oh, well, I've seen him do it in Scotland. Yeah, but, Dave, it's a whole different league. He's managing one of the biggest clubs in Scotland. We're not one of the biggest clubs, right? And this is where I think that people go.
Jose Mourinho done it in the Premier League. Conte done it in the Premier League. Jose Mourinho has also done it out in Spain, Italy, and other countries, same as Conte, but haven't been able to make it work at Tottenham Hotspur. So I think the common denominator is Tottenham Hotspur and not the managers. I do hear what you're saying. The reality is we are bringing in managers. The reality is, Ryan, we're bringing in managers who do know what they're doing, who do have the right tactics to bring silverware to what they're trying to do. It's proven everywhere else. It's only when they join Tottenham Hotspur, people say they don't know what they're doing. It's never going to work out at Tottenham Hotspur because of this reason, because of that reason. But that's why, if fans are so quick to get rid of a manager, that's why Daniel Levy is never going to back them to the full extent. Look, I agree with a lot of people what people say about Daniel Levy. I'm not his biggest fan. I think to a degree he's brought the club as far as he can. I think he's holding us back right now. I do share that opinion. But the reality is he ain't going anywhere until someone comes up with £4 or £5 billion to buy Tottenham Hotspur. He's not going anywhere. So I think it would be bigger for the fans to actually get a united fan base behind the manager and say, get this guy back. Because the reality is, we're calling for him to sack. People say about the club, oh, they're always doing the cheaper option. You're helping them. You're giving them the cheap way out. If you back a manager, you're actually making them spend 20, 30, 40 million times over in a position which is the cheaper way out. Or sorry, the dearer way out.
I don't believe that though, Dave, right? Because at the moment we're sleepwalking into a relegation battle.
Look, I don't disagree with you in terms of the league position. I don't disagree with you. It is a concern of mine. I am worried. But I've also want to win trophies, and we're still within a chance of winning trophies. So for me, and I've said this, recently in the last one in Spurs, he gets to the end of January. If he can get a point at Arsenal, beat the 2 relegation clubs we've got coming up in Everton and Leicester, that staves away the relegation fight. And if he progresses in the cups, then I think, you can still salvage the second half of the season. For me, I think right now, if you're talking about trying to get players in, what player is going to sign for Tottenham Hotspur not knowing who the manager is?
Okay, Dave, I get you on that point, yeah, right? But, right, I want to ask this question to you because this is a question that's being thrown around quite a lot at the moment, yeah? Or from everywhere I'm going on like Savage channel, people like that, yeah? Right? And they're all saying at the moment, would you take relegation and a trophy this season? Because that's where it's heading to. I'm going to be
fair. I'm not going to be fair. And I'm not saying it's the people that you brought up. I'm not speaking about anybody individually, and I'm not going to do it here. But in years gone by, I have heard people say they wouldn't mind getting relegated if it meant Levy, left the football club and stuff like that. So, I've always stood by and I said, look, I don't want the club to get relegated under any circumstances. People don't realise how hard it is to come out of the Championship. But what I'm not going to have is you coming here and asking me that question when I've heard people, and I'm not talking about not them people that you're talking about, but people, with similar opinions have said they wouldn't mind the club getting relegated if it meant Levy left. So I'm not having that question directed at me when I've never ever mentioned about the club getting relegated.
No, I'm just saying though, because there's a lot of fans in the fan base, and I'm not saying Savage said that. I'm not saying Savage said that.
No, I know you're not. I know you're not.
I'm saying that people who I've seen on in the chats have been saying, yeah, right, that but we're sleepwalking to relegation, and would you take a trophy and relegation, right? Because I can tell you what, right, that's the way it looks like it's going at the moment, Dave, and that's just my opinion, right, at the moment, and that's not.
No, you're entitled to it, right?
Anybody else, but do you know what I mean? Like that's the way it's going at the moment, Dave, and that's why I've asked you the question: would you accept that? And Jack, would you accept that as well?
No, I wouldn't accept relegation. I wouldn't accept.
I just find it to be a bit unrealistic. I don't think we're at that stage yet to really be asking questions like that. I find that to be also like a very sort of Andy Goldstein type of question, from TalkSport. He kind of does questions like that where he's like, what if you would get relegated, but then win 2 trophies and keep, the manager that you have in charge? It's just always kind of unrealistic scenarios that, yes, are maybe entertaining to answer, but I don't think are really realistic to what will actually happen in the future. I could be wrong, and maybe we do end up getting near a relegation battle, but I'm going to stick my neck out on the line and say that that's not going to happen at all.
Well, I think if we keep Ange, it's the way we're going. And I'm sorry to say that, but that's the way it's going. And I don't want to see us in a relegation battle by the end of the season, because we're sleepwalking there at the moment, right? This is what I said to you last week, I think, Jacko. I think it was last week I said this to you about his points per game. Was it last week I said this to you, Jacko? I can't remember.
Yeah, you were saying his points per game is worse than Christian Gross, which I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I haven't checked up on that, if that is true. I mean, it hasn't been great, but I think there's a lot of context that surrounds that with Ange Postecoglou, and a lot of it I don't think you would accept, but I think there are a lot of, positions that you could take to explain maybe the fact that his points per game haven't been so great. But I'm not sure whether you would probably accept those reasons, because we've had these debates before.
You know me, Jacko. I'm always open to being proven wrong, but at the moment I just can't see how it's changing, and then going on to the game against Arsenal, we're not winning that. We're not winning that, not one little bit. I will take Bergvall playing in attacking mid, definitely, over Maddison, definitely. I want Bergvall. Don't get me wrong, I love Maddison and I love Bergvall. So to see them two fight it out, brilliant, because it will just make them both better in the long run. But as it stands, I would start with Bergvall, and I think we're going to get absolutely hammered tomorrow, and that's horrible to not tomorrow, Wednesday. And it's horrible to say, but I can't see us doing anything different, Dave. It's going to be the same thing, and we'll be down to 14th by the end of it.
Look, Rino, I'm concerned heading into North London Derby as well, but maybe for different reasons to you. I just think going forward, I think we've lost all confidence, and I struggle to see how, if we can't break down Tamworth, how we're going to break down Arsenal. That's my big concern. But look, it's not going to be an easy North London derby. It really isn't. They're chasing for a Premier League title, and I think people forget that despite their cup losses, they do have motivation in the league. So it's not going to be easy. And look, I share your concerns. I'm just hoping we can get over the line, Rino. But Rino,
I just don't think we can, though, Dave. And do you know what else is really concerning as well? Do you know what else is concerning as well? We're not going to get anything from the second leg. We're not. We're going to get absolutely nothing from the second leg, because Liverpool, right? We haven't beaten Liverpool in God knows how long at Anfield, right? And I heard somewhere of a stat saying it's been 100 years since we last went to Anfield and won. I don't know how true that is or not, but if that is true, we're screwed. We are absolutely screwed.
But that's why I was thinking it was important to go up there with something. Look, I think we will come back and rue Pedro Porro's missed opportunity. I think that I am worried about going up to Anfield. I said it myself after the watch along. Delighted to get the win. Didn't think we were going to do it. But I wonder, will we be looking at highlights of that Pedro Porro missed opportunity and thinking, what if? I do agree with you. It's going to be difficult. So look, let's wait and see. Rino, I think you might be surprised. I don't think, sometimes we're too far away like you think sometimes. I think there are some things where maybe we do think similar. I think it's just around the manager maybe that we have a different sort of opinion. But look, Rino, whether people agree with you or not, I really appreciate your difference of opinion. I really appreciate the way you come on, put it across, and have these conversations with us. So thank you very much, my man.
Yeah, just one last quick thing. Jacko, you know what I'm going to ask you?
Am I happy clapping?
Yeah.
2 clean sheets, Rhino.
Bollocks.
Yeah.
Beat Liverpool, beat the mighty Tamworth. Didn't you see the title? We smashed the mighty Tamworth 3-0.
Oh, don't. Let's not go there anymore. That's shambolic. I don't care.
We smashed
Like,
them.
literally,
We smashed them. We gave him
I-
Rhino. We gave
Do
him a
you know what?
whooping. We gave him a whooping.
No, we didn't. It was a disaster. It was an absolute disaster, right? And the last thing to end this off on, yeah, right, is
Yeah,
I
end it off.
hope we lose. I hope we lose, right? Tomorrow on Wednesday, and I hope we lose against Villa, and I hope we get smashed against Liverpool, so Ange can foxtrot Oscar out of this club.
Do you know what, Rhino? I think many people are okay with the call until you've said that. I think there's going to be a meltdown in the comments now. But look, at the end of the day, you're entitled to your opinion. I don't agree with that last part. I think even if you realise there's problems with Tottenham, I still think you should always hope that they're going to win. But look, you're entitled to your opinion at the end of the day, Rhino. And look, thank you very much, like I said, for coming on and having a difference of opinion, having it out with us. I appreciate it, my man. And we'll speak again soon.
Yeah, Dave, I hope you're well now as well from the other last week as well. I hope you're a lot better as well, mate.
I am. I'm getting there, Rhino. I'm getting there, buddy. Thank you very much. And it's good to see you back around as well. I know you've had your problems and that. So, it's great to see you getting back, to full health and stuff like that.
I'll message you after the show, Dave, to give you an update with what's going on with all that. So I'll give you a message when you finish at the end of the show, and then I'll WhatsApp you. And then if you don't reply and you see it and can't be asked to reply tonight, just reply to me tomorrow.
No, what I'll do is I'll have my dinner and then I'll check the WhatsApp. And if it's there, I'll respond. All right?
All right, bro. All right, cool. Have a good one, you
See you,
two.
Ryan.
Peace.
Have a good one, Ryan. I'll see you soon, my man. See you soon. Look, he's a character, guys. And look, regardless whether we agree with him or not, I appreciate him coming out, and having it out with us. He doesn't agree with some of what we says, but he's not afraid to come in here in a nice, respectful manner and challenge us. So fair play to Ryan on that. I think maybe he let himself down right at the end. But big up Davy Shire as well, sent in the super sticker. And he says, "You are amazing." Well,
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Very kind, Davey.
Appreciate that. My man used to say that to me all the time, so I appreciate that, Davy Shire, absolute legend.
Good to see you, man.
People think I'm not, so, or Jack, but I appreciate the people that do. So thank you very much, Mr. Shire. And like I said, hopefully we can make it work, with you correlating the dates with both of us being in England. So hopefully we can make that work, Mr. Shire. Absolute legend. Right. Look,
very kind to us, man. You've been very, very kind to us today.
Sorry,
really appreciate it. Very, very generous of you, sir. And we're riding into this game on Wednesday. I want us to win, and I also am slightly curious, whether this Arsenal crumble is just going to continue to happen. And I'm actually, again, Davey, quite relieved and maybe quite happy to see that a lot of Spurs fans seem more relaxed than usual, going into a North London derby, even despite, our sort of crazy up and down season. So, this should be fun. Should be fun. Big up, Davy Shire.
Big up, Davy Shire. Absolute legend, my man. And look, Arsenal the weekend, hopefully things can, because I do think if we can win that North London derby, could it be the catalyst we need to change our season around? Let's wait and see. Maybe I'm getting too carried away. I love the North London derby. Then we have Moondogs says, be respectful to members with different views. And look, that's one thing I've always maintained. I have no problem with people having difference of opinions, but it's how you go about arguing that difference of opinion. I think once you start shouting down people or calling them names and all, I think you sort of lose the argument. You know what I mean? I think what people genuinely want when they're tuning in is two opinions going at it, but, where you can respect. Because once there's respect there, you can dig them opinions out and talk about them properly, evaluate on them properly. Once you get into name calling and all, you sort of lose that, the dialogue and stuff like that. So big up Moondog, absolutely spot on, lad. But look, we will get on to the last guest of the evening, and we will make this the last guest. We've had the link up for an hour 50, and it will be the one and only Michael, who we haven't seen in a while. Let's hopefully he's had a good Christmas, good New Year, and it's good to see that he's still alive. Let's bring him on. Michael, how are you, sir?
Yeah, big up, guys. Long time no see. First of all, sorry for the state of my voice, but I'm a bit sick at that point. Listen, I am probably one of the few people that in 2025 caught COVID again.
Oh, no.
I had COVID for the past week, so yeah, it's not been great health-wise. I've googled that something called maxillary sinus, which is like this part of the face. It hurts like a motherfucker, whenever I bend down to pick something up or whatever. But other than that, I'm fine. I'm still coughing a bit, and my voice is still a bit gone. But I just had to come on because I tried to come on plenty of your previous shows, but there was something that I had to do at a point, and I couldn't really master the time. So I'm really happy that we get to see each other now. First time this year, I think, right?
Look, Christmas and New Year, it's a busy time for everybody. You know, we all
Yeah,
have
yeah.
things that we need to go and do. So, look, you don't need to explain yourself, but thank you very much. You know, we were getting worried that you were starting to hate us or something like that, Michael. So, no, I'm not messing, but I appreciate that, my man. And look, first of all, hopefully you get better. I don't like seeing anybody sick, you know, and I understand how the effect it can have. So hopefully you do get better, my man. Not that Tottenham's made it any easier for you while you've been bedridden and stuff like that. So look, we haven't spoken in a while. Where are you at with the whole project, Ange Postecoglou, Tottenham, and moving forward?
Yeah, I have to admit I've been really like up and down with it. I've even come to say like Ange out at certain points, right? As you know, I think like the most important talk that we had I can point to was the one after Ipswich, where I said that I know it's a long time ago, right? But let me work through it, right? I said after Ipswich that I think it's shambolic that we lost to them, and I will give Ange like a couple of games time to try to fix it, right? And then the City game came around the corner, right after the international break. I was really happy with it, but then we had that run of fixtures where we drew with Fulham, lost to Bournemouth, lost to Forest, lost to Chelsea, lost to Liverpool. Yes, albeit we won with Southampton and Manchester United, but both of those clubs weren't really anything special, let's call it, right?
Yeah.
It was special that we won in the cup, right? I was extremely ecstatic with it, but the opposition wasn't necessarily like the best. So I came to a conclusion based on what I said myself, right? I said myself, I'm giving him like a couple of games to see how it pans out, and it didn't pan out well, right? And I'm not necessarily want to say now that I am like over it and I'm back into Anjin camp. I think my trust has been damaged a lot, right? And it will take a lot of time.
I don't think there's a lot of people like that,
right?
Michael, sharing the same opinion as that.
Yeah, but I try to be fair, right? I always try to like look at things from both sides, right? And I will, when I see something positive, I will like point out to the positive thing. But when I see something negative, I will like call out the negative thing, right? Some people even called it a bit like flip-floppish or like sitting on the fence. I admit I am sitting on the fence a bit, right? Because it's like after one game I praise the team, and after the other game I criticize the team, right? So I get it in the point. So basically, like at this point, I would say that I am extremely happy with the fact that we are where we are in the cups. Like I think he's been doing better than many other managers in the previous years, right? Probably which I think is a fair point. Listen, I still have my doubts about the Anfield game. I still think we probably will not go through to the final, even though I will back the team like wholeheartedly, right?
You're different to Rino, though. You're hopeful, right?
Well, of course I will be hoping, right? But it's still it's only 1-0 at going to Anfield.
I agree with you.
Maybe if we didn't get smashed 6-3 at home, I would have a different approach, right? But I've seen us concede 6 goals to Liverpool, so I know that if they really want to turn it on and we aren't on our day, then I think we have the possibility of losing that game by more than 2 goals, right?
Sounds
or
like
more than 1 goal. Yeah.
Sounds like you're a bit similar to Chris. I was talking to him before we actually went live, and he said like he's on the fence as well, kind of with Ange and just with everything this season. And then I said, like, like if you're sitting on a wall, though, if you are sitting on a fence, your legs do lean to one side or the other, despite you sitting on it. So which side would it be then? Ange in, Ange out. And he said he's like kind of Ange out, and he said similar words of like, just like had a bit of trust that sort of got lost at one point, had a bit of faith that got lost, and he's just deciding whether it's being earned back or not at this point. And it sounds like you're in a very similar point. I'm curious if a lot of the fan base is at that stage right now.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it, right? When you exactly as you said, when you sit on the wall, one leg is dangling to one side and the other one is
maybe you're straddling it,
right?
Which is fine, but some people usually do it.
I would say I'm more like 65 out, 35 in. Because and the reason why I'm like 35 in is I always try to point out to the like injury thing, right? and I never want to use like injuries as an excuse, but I always say that they are a factor. You have to take them into consideration when you make judgments, right? Because like you can always like make those examples and take them to extremes, right? If let's just like give you a stupid example. Imagine like we had the bus with our team crashed right on the way back from Tamworth, and plenty of players were in hospital, right? Am I judging Ange on performances if half the team is in hospital? Like, I know it's an extreme example, right? But
it's kind of
then
what
people
we're
will
in.
say, oh, other teams also have injuries and players missing. Yeah, but is it Ange's fault that so many of the players are missing? Partially, you can make. I even made myself an argument that I think the way we
argue with yourself.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the way the intensity with which we play certain games, I don't think it suits the way our squad is at a current moment, right? I don't think like some of those games where I've seen us like pressing a lot, like especially against Liverpool, I think that was like the biggest offender for me, where I felt like we played into Liverpool's hands by pressing them so high up and using so much energy, where we knew that they have not only they have like a world-class attack, but they also have like a second stream attack that is probably better than ours still, right? And we still pressed them a lot, and we left ourselves wide open, right? After that Liverpool game, I had a major meltdown. Like I was vexed, right? I was fuming after that Liverpool game because I expected us to lose, but not to concede 6 at home.
Yeah,
right?
I think we went into that thinking that, there's no way we're going to get hurt here. There's no way, we're going to continue to ride the high of the Man United win.
Yeah.
And yet somehow it did feel like, that was the worst
Yeah,
thing that could have happened.
Because I wasn't watching the game live. I was like on a car drive from my like family's house to here to Wrocław, right? So I didn't watch the game live, and I told my girlfriend not to spoil me, and she was sitting like at the seat near me, and she was like, "What do you think the scoreline is?" Right? Because it was nearing the end of the match, and I said, I listen, I know that we will lose. I said to her that it's going to be like 3-1 or something like that, right? And if it was 3-1, I wouldn't be as vexed as I was, right? But as I said, that the point was conceding 6 goals, right? I think this was something that was really like a nail in the coffin for me. I was like wholeheartedly like, we need to change. We need the change of the manager. I appreciate the injury crisis, but at that point, but listen, did we turn it around? Not really, right? Not really in the league, definitely not, right? But the cup thing, I will like. I will agree with the fact that
though, Michael, in the second game against Liverpool, he went more long ball, played a lot more long. I think we played the most long balls since he's been here. Does that give you hope that maybe there is recognition that he can sort of bring them changes about going forward too? Because I think, look, he would have been embarrassed being slapped up 6-3 against Liverpool. He's a Liverpool fan. He doesn't want to be bet like that by them and stuff. So, does that maybe give you hope or sort of give you belief? And is that why you're back in the middle zone again, or?
I would say that yes, I was extremely surprised with the way we approached the second Liverpool game. I was really like I was super happy with what I was watching. Like albeit I think like Liverpool weren't exactly at the races. I have to say that they weren't like the greatest outfit out there, right? Even the players that they had from the first team weren't necessarily like at the level they sometimes can reach, right? I have to take like check that in, right? But I think the biggest, and maybe that's a bit of an unpopular opinion, right? But I think the biggest thing for me will be whether he does the same thing at Anfield, because I think Romero and Van de Ven will be back when we play against them at Anfield, right? Or at least one of them.
Do you think having all these players back though will give him more headache and actually to get it all wrong?
Yeah, this is partially the point I want to make, right? I want to see whether he sticks to that like more defensive long ball approach, even with Van de Ven and Romero in the team, because I've seen plenty of time Ange being like a bit like stubborn and a bit like proud of the way he plays, and as soon as he gets the chance to like to trust the team with the way he plays, he defaults back to it, right? And I think if we default back to the like no guard, just open boxing, just striking for the sake of striking, right? I think we will get punished at Anfield heavily, right? But I think with Van de Ven and Romero, if he shows me that that listen, I can adapt and I can still appreciate the fact that Liverpool are a dangerous team, and even with my first team players, I will still just park it in a bit and just try to adapt. This is something that I really wanted from him, and I've been like repeating that, right? That I want to see adaptation with like the level of opposition and the kind of opposition we have in mind, right? This is something that I've said like since the end of last season. This is something that's been bothering me, especially like at that point, that we weren't adapting to what the strengths of the opposition was, right? And I've seen plenty of matches this season where the same thing happened, right? But then we have examples like Liverpool, where like the second leg against Liverpool, where or the second match, sorry, against Liverpool, where we adapted actually, right? And we got the results. So it's like, it's really infuriating, right? Because
just on that,
go on.
Just quickly, what I will say is, I think it's easier to adapt to the better teams than it is to the smaller teams.
Yeah, definitely.
The smaller teams, those actually come down to quality. When you're playing against 11 men behind the ball, there's only so much tactics is going to get you through that game, right? You've got a couple of options, guys. Get the balls down the side, in behind, cross it in behind the defense, and look to get your strikers on the end of it, or maintain possession, to move it quick side to side, and hopefully gaps appear. That's the only real tactics you can sort of apply for them games. So that's why when it comes down to the smaller teams, I struggle when people go, "Oh, he didn't adapt tactically and stuff." It's like, well, I mean, there's only so much tactics you can give Johnson or adapt with the sort of limits that are on him. Same with some of the other players we've got going forward. I think, to my point, I think it's easier to adapt against the bigger teams because they don't respect you. You can pinpoint gaps where you can go and exploit them. But the problem we've got against a smaller team, I don't think it's going to change until you bring in a better caliber player. And I think, for me, that was backed up by yesterday's game against Tamworth. We had players that most people would say, look, even
I have to scrap my say on this.
Yeah, but like you even with Vernon, even though people's got the problems with Vernon, you still looking and go, it should still have more than enough to put 2, 3, 4 goals by these guys and get the game done easy. And a lot of people went after Postecoglou, like you hear Rino going, "Oh, he's tactically outclassed." It's like, you don't need tactics in that game. It's just about desire and hunger of players and stuff. But, the reason why we have problems breaking them down is because we don't have the right caliber of players going forward, in my opinion. And I think yesterday exposed the quality that they're at compared to where some people may think they're at.
Yeah. So with the tactical approach, right? I completely agree with you that it's easier to adapt against teams that want to play you, right? When we face a team like, for example, who low blocked against us, like Newcastle low blocked against us, or I know it's a good team, right? So, but I'm talking more about the approach, right? Or Ipswich, Palace, right? I mean, Palace they employed like a good hybrid of pressing and actually defending, right? So they were pressing us aggressively when we were playing out of the back, but actually defended quite resolutely with a lot of bodies behind the ball, right? And this is also like the point I want, especially like the Fulham and Bournemouth game, where I think we came up against like physical teams that really want to, that what they lack in like technical quality, they make up with like hard work. I feel like we kind of left ourselves exposed a bit with the way we constantly like try to play out of the back with Archie Gray, Spence, and Spence has been performing well, right? But what I mean is that I've seen us now play against Liverpool, where they also tried to press us when we were playing out of the back, and we just kept launching it to Solanke, right? And we had the same opportunity to do that against Fulham and Bournemouth, and I think we could have hurt them that way, but we didn't, right? We kept persisting with the way we tried to play. This is what I mean about like slight adaptations. I'm not saying like the whole game has to be like, 5 at the back, low block it and just hope that Bournemouth doesn't punish us. Right?
I think it's reasonable. Reasonable. Yeah.
This is why I expected, right? And I wasn't seeing that during December, which is why I was like, I am actually kind of done with this project, right? Because I just didn't see the benefit of sticking with Ange where he was like persisting with the way we played, even though we weren't capable of like, performing that way of football, right? That way of playing football. But again, I have to stress because there are plenty of people that have like a lot of problems with Ange himself, right? They actually like don't like him as a person. They don't like his approach and all that stuff.
It's fair enough.
I personally don't have like a problem with him, right? It's not that I'm against him, right? I don't mind it if he turns it around. I am fully ready to support.
It's not
him,
about
right?
his character. It's about how he's performing
it's about purely about his performance as a manager, right? Because what I want for this club is for this club to win stuff, right? And if I don't see a manager helping us to win stuff, then I'm like going to point out the mistakes, right? And again, I have to stress, December, I wasn't seeing that, right? Right now, yes, I know we lost to Newcastle, but there's a situation we are against Newcastle with the sickness and the injuries. I am like completely letting that one out of the I'm not
fair play to you.
judging
You know
him,
what?
right?
I think you've been one of the most reasonable sort of people we've heard to date, coming on here around, Ange, where you're a bit balanced, you're willing to take in stuff from both sides and form your opinion.
Yeah.
So fair play to you. Look, you said you had a lot to say about Tamworth, and I presume you have a bit to say about the North London Derby as well.
Yeah. So right point. I should probably move on to Tamworth, right?
I think you made a lot of good points on Ange Postecoglou. I think many people think they're fair. They're fair.
Yeah, listen, with Tamworth, right? I like solemnly promise you that from now on, from today, I am stopping the usage of Timo Werner as a name. I am calling him Turbo Wanker from now on, and only that, right? If you ever catch me saying Timo Werner, I don't know. I promise when I find a job, I will. If I say Timo Werner on your stream, right, from now on, I will like donate a membership to someone, right? Like I will keep calling him Turbo Wanker, and I hope I remember about that, right?
Yeah,
because I am like, honestly, guys, we were playing against Tamworth FC, right? Like this game was a proper shit show, right? I actually like from purely like enjoyment point of view, as like not a Spurs fan, but everything that happened around it, the fact that they were, fixing the net with tape, right? And the fact that, they had a guy called Tom Tonks, that his only like attribute was just launching it from the side into the penalty box. It was actually a brilliant tie when you look at it from like that perspective, and the whole like vibe about it. Tamworth fans giving Ange shit and our players shit, right? You've probably seen the snippet where they were calling like Brendan Johnson, you have just a shit on Watkins or whatever, right?
Where they were like, you should have been sent off. And
you should have been sent off.
Walking through like a god.
Yeah, like it was a proper FA Cup tie. In that sense, I actually enjoyed it, right? But the performance from some of the players was absolutely embarrassing, and it wasn't even, as you said, it wasn't about the tactical approach for me. Like, respectfully to Tamworth, I think they performed out of their fucking skin, some of those players, right? But respectfully to them, we should be going there without a manager and winning, right? I don't care. Some of those players need to look at themselves in the mirror after that game and look at their like professional careers and think about what just happened, right? Because I can check it, and when we like speak next time, I will actually say it, right? But I am pretty sure that Timo Werner's weekly wage is like more than enough to run Tamworth for a couple of months, right?
Oh, for sure.
Like I am pretty sure.
We were saying the whole squad wages out there is enough to buy Tamworth.
Yeah, exactly, right? It's embarrassing, the performance of some of those players, right? And some of those players that I actually didn't expect like to perform on such a low level, mainly like Pedro Porro. I think he was absolutely shocking against Tamworth.
45 times he gave away the ball.
Yeah, 45 times losing the ball. It's ridiculous. Like the performance from him. Like I think Pape Sarr was mid. I think Timo Werner and Brendan Johnson were the worst culprits, right, in that front line. So this is my like take on the Tamworth game. Listen, I am super happy that we got through. Aston Villa away is a bit of a tough draw, but we've beaten them last time when we played them there, right? We've beaten them 4-0. So I am not necessarily like too, like, of course I would prefer to play like Oxford at home or something like that, right? But I am not too like bothered about Aston Villa away.
Some people think it gives us a better chance of winning, actually, because it's a bigger team. We perform better.
It's a bigger team, so yeah, probably will perform better,
Just
right?
quickly, though, I do want to say a big up Tala Ahmed, member for 25 months, you absolute legend. Really appreciate the longevity of support. He says, in Ange, I trust. And I remember last time we were speaking, we were on about trying to get you in on the Pro Clubs team. So please let me know if that's still an option, Tala. Big up, my man, absolute legend. And look, I look forward to it, my man. But go on, Michael, what were you saying?
Yeah, and the North London Derby is probably like the biggest topic right now, right? And I honestly don't know what to feel about this game, right? During December, I was watching that fixture, and I was like, oh fuck, like oh god, right? Why in January, right? Why now? Why not like in April when we have our players back, right? And I was just dreading it, right? Because we already lost to them at home, which I think is like, fucking hell, we haven't won against them three years in a row at home, right? So, but now I look at this fixture, and I won't be one of those like Spurs fans which like goes into it with like unreasonable chest, right? Just because they lost to United, that doesn't mean that they will lose to us. I still think they are more than capable of low blocking it and just shithousing a 1-0 win, which I think which is something that I fear will happen. That they will just low block and give us the ball, and when you watch us struggle to break down Tamworth, and you think that we have to go to the Emirates and break them down, I'm not necessarily like full of confidence, but this is a big but, right? I think there has been like a shitload of criticism towards Arteta and the style of play that they have, right? And I'm not sure if the Emirates crowd will stand for low blocking it against Tottenham,
You
right?
don't think so?
For 90 minutes. I actually think that's because I watch like a lot of Arsenal.
We have the ability to pin them in for 90 minutes, though, how shit we are going forward.
Yeah. This is the point like I'm making, right? Because if they went out there with the approach of low blocking it, right, which they did, for example, against us at our ground, right, then they are like more than capable of just giving us the ball, and it's not even about us pinning them into the box. It's about them just standing in the box, right?
Yeah,
and just countering on us, right?
Yeah.
But I am not sure if that crowd will stand for it, right? There has been so much scrutiny towards Arteta and the style of play that he's been showing recently, that I actually think that they might come out a bit and try to play us, which for me gives us an opportunity to actually hurt them. Because I feel like when I watch their midfield, and especially with like Partey right back and Jorginho in the midfield, if he plays, right, I think we can actually like physically try to win that battle, because I don't think they are like the most like technical bunch, right? Or they are like the most physical bunch, right? Because Newcastle's midfield is just, just testosterone on another level, right? That they are a bunch of wankers, right? Especially Joe Linton, but that they can fight, right? I don't necessarily get the vibe like that from Arsenal's midfield, right? Which for me actually like kind of gives me hope that we can actually get something from this game, right? Again, I won't like give it all chest that we are going there and smashing them 3-1 or whatever, right? We haven't won there in like 15 years, right? So I will keep it respectful, right? It's a extremely tough ground to go to, but I'm not gonna lie, there is like a small part of me hoping that we are the final nail in the fucking coffin, right? I am so like, trust me, guys. I know you don't like mentioning other channels on here, right? But on Thursday there is a North London News Hours on a certain channel, right? And I will be there probably, and there will be Arsenal fans there, right? And I kid you not, if we fucking win, right, I'm going to be an unbearable dickhead, right? I'm going to be like, with that voice, with that runny nose and the sore throat.
Hope you are.
And and everything. I'm going to be unbearable, right? I'm just going to sit there with a drink and just enjoy it, right? Because if we are the team to beat them at their ground after they got knocked out of the FA Cup and pretty much knocked out of the Carabao Cup, Lord have mercy, right? Just a spicy Tottenham. They are just a spicy Tottenham, and Arteta is a worse Pochettino, right? At that point, if it happens.
Do you know what? I was reading stuff today, sort of getting my stuff ready for pre-game and stuff, and I was looking at it as like, I think it's a golden opportunity for Tottenham to get their season back on track, but also put a nail in Arsenal's to a certain degree, or help put a nail in Arsenal's. And I agree with you. I think that's what sort of gives me a glimmer of hope. And also, when you least expect Tottenham to turn up, they usually turn up. So let's wait and see what happens. And by the way, you've done really well here, because Jerome, he doesn't. Sometimes when people come on with Angel arguments, he doesn't agree with them and he lets them know. But I think you've done very well here, because he says all the points Michael made about Ange is fair. So big up, Jerome. Hopefully you're keeping well there in the middle of your summer. Hopefully you're availing of the weather right now. I mean, it's absolutely freezing cold here, but the weird thing is I think both of us wouldn't have it any other way, my man. He says it would be a very difficult game, but we have to be confident and believe we can go out there and get something. I mean, guys, Jack, we'll let you in, we'll let Michael in. Do you think this squad has the confidence to go out there and, get the result? Because I think there is an element of players in the squad that have the confidence. I'm just not sure the 4 players have the confidence, and I think that's where we will be let down. I think the goalkeeper, certainly a confident fella. Back line, they'll be confident in their ability. And the midfield, I'll just worry about the forward line. I think they're so far drained of confidence right now, and I think that's what's going to be the telltale sign for me. And it could be the, the deciding factor in the game.
Mm-hmm.
But Jack, what's your opinion?
I think Spurs fans are more confident than I expected, actually, Jerome, ahead of this game. Probably a little bit has to do with Arsenal, but I think also it seems like against the bigger teams, we've starting to get this trend from Spurs fans, which I could kind of buy into, that perhaps Ange
I don't
Ball,
want to buy into it almost because I feel like we'll jinx it.
but Ange Ball maybe does work or has, at least in recent games or recent months, it has been doing a lot better against bigger, better teams, teams that do play, a bit more gung-ho or might actually try to go toe-to-toe against us. We tend to, play a little bit better and catch them out. And you argue that, with the Liverpool game, we should have won that 2-0, 3-0, maybe 3-1, 2-1, whatever it might have been, but we should have won by more than the one goal margin. And I said before that game, Dave said, how on earth can we beat this Liverpool team? I said, well, if Ange does deliver, in his style and they play it to the best of their ability, it can work and it can really give teams a good game. It's just down to whether the forward line can put away the chances that will come their way, because we always do get chances and we always do create them. It's just we're not a very clinical team, and then we leave ourselves open at the back door to get punished. And it's just whether that will happen this time or not. I feel like this Arsenal team, even if they do try to play low block, even if they do try to stifle us, look at the last game, the one that we had at home. We still had chances in that first half. Solanke, a few others did as well, and we didn't take them, and then we just got punished like we usually do. So as long as that doesn't happen, if we take our chances nice and early, we can give them a game. That's my thinking.
Fair.
I honestly, my hope is that we aren't going to see Werner and Johnson play. at least not in the starting 11. I actually think Ange will go with a midfield of Bissouma, Sarr, and Maddison or Bergvall. I think one of them will play. Yeah, I have a sneaky. You know what my one worry with Bergvall is, right? He has a tendency to have a head loss, or like he is quite like he absorbs the atmosphere.
Well, let me ask you though.
Yeah.
Would you rather have that little bit of a head loss he has, or take the risk on Maddison, where, quite frankly, you just don't know what you're going to get? At least with Bergvall, you're going to get effort, you're going to get energy, and for the large part of the game, you are going to get an impact. But I do agree with you; he does have that sort of one mistake in him.
Yeah, so it's really like tough, call to make, right? Because on one hand we have Maddison, who doesn't really like the fight, right? Or at least he's not like showing, not from the physical side, right? He talks a lot, and he has a bit of a shithouse gene in him, right? But which kind of leans towards like Bergvall, right? But when I watch Bergvall and some of the tackles he makes and some of the some of the rashness he has in him, I am really like worried that he will get a red card or something like that, right? Like that he will just do something stupid because he's still like a young player and still has a lot of like a lot to learn, basically, right? But still, like coming back to my like original point, I wouldn't mind either. I think both of them have their qualities and both of them like have their strong and weak sides, which we can use and can get exploited. So it's kind of like hard to pinpoint which one is better, right? But based on like Sarr, Bissouma, and either one of them in the midfield, I think it puts Kulusevski, Son, and Solanke as our front three. And I actually wouldn't mind that front three at all, right? I think it's a good front three. I think all of those three players, Son has the experience. Solanke is actually kind of looking like okay. I think he's kind of looking. I don't want to like make grand statements and say that he's on form and whatever, right? But his game looks a lot better than it used to in like December, especially like the first part of December. And I think Kulusevski is a man in form, even though like some of his performances recently haven't been as good as like at the beginning of the season. But I still think he gives us a lot of like physicality, and he still gives us a lot of like driving with the ball and control of the ball, and he dictates play. So I think he's a useful player, much more useful than Brennan Bloody Johnson, right? I've been on this guy's case, and I will be on this guy's case, and I will say if he scores, good on you, right? But other than that, like his work rate and his like contribution to the team is effing zero, right? Like I kid you not that there are plenty of games where I forget that this guy is on the pitch, right? I just forget that he's there, right? even when we are defending, he's nowhere to be seen, right? And I'm like, what the fuck, Johnson? Just do something. Just show me that you want, you want more. You are a better player, and it's not really happening, right? So I would much rather, even though it's not Kulusevski's best position, I would rather see Kulusevski on that right side than Brennan Johnson at the current point, right?
I completely agree with you, especially with Kinski's in goal. If Arsenal do try and press us and they get enjoy out of it, you have to have an alternative. And I think if you're pumping the ball into Johnson, forget about it. It's coming straight back at you. If you're pumping it into Kulu or Solanke, I think you've got a better chance, in game to be able to adjust, to get out just for a couple of minutes, and then you can get back to Ange ball if that's what you want once you're up the pitch. Fully agree. But Michael, look, I think it's been a great conversation this evening. Like I said, you've done very well to get Jerome to sort of hear your points and, actually sort of, say their fair points. But Michael, I speak for everyone. It's great to have you back, my man. Really enjoyed the conversation, and get better soon.
Yeah, I am pretty much back on track. As I said, still a bit of a runny nose, but the worst is after me, so behind me. Sorry, the worst is behind me.
Hopefully, it's the same with Tottenham Hotspur, Michael. Right? The worst is behind
hopefully. By the way, I have to ask: was this like mic quality good? Because I had issues with it recently, where the quality wasn't like great. So. Yeah,
do you know what? We're actually probably the wrong people to ask, because when we're doing the watch runs, our mic sounds great to each other, but then everyone else in the chat is telling us it's gone all over the place. So we'll put that to the chat. Chat, let us know as Michael's mic being good, and just look in the chat and they'll tell you. Because to be honest with you, with the problems we're having on the watch songs with our audio, we're the wrong people to ask right now.
Yeah. As I said, brilliant speaking with you boys again, and I enjoyed those chats. Yeah, as I said, I didn't really have time recently, but I'm back. I will try to be like featured as much as I can. And listen, this week can be huge, right, for us. This week can be actually huge for us. So I would just keep my hands tight, keep tight to themselves, and just hoping that we actually can deliver something against Arsenal, right? If you lose, like, listen, we lose pretty much every year at the Emirates, right? So will I be like super mad? Not really. So yeah, but I will be back in the team. And listen, there is a week in February, like Aston Villa and Liverpool in 1 week away, both games, both in the Caps. This is the week that will define the season for me. So yeah.
Well, no, look, I think again, just quickly before we let you go, I think I agree. We've done well in the cups, but I think this week we have a chance to sort of turn around the league narrative to a certain degree. Even if we pick up a point at the Emirates and beat Everton on the weekend, I think it staves off the relegation talks. And then you back it up with Leicester. So I think January's huge for Postecoglou. I think we've got halfway there. We just got to back it up with the second half. And I truly believe if we do, I think you'll get many people, even just people that are staunch Ange out right now, go, do you know what? Let's sit back for a month or two and let's see how this unfolds. But Michael, absolutely great conversation. People are saying your mic sounds fantastic. So there you are, my man. It's definitely done the job, and we'll speak again very soon. Make sure you go and recover.
Yeah, speak again.
Well done, Michael.
Good evening.
Appreciate
Michael.
you.
Big up, Mick. Absolutely fantastic to see Mick back. Sorry that he was going through all that sort of stuff. It's never nice. No. He's being bedridden and stuff like that, but great to see him back. And we have Jerome also following up and says, if we win that game, I would be the most obnoxious, shameless person out there, even if they're second and we are 12th. I mean, Jack, I'll probably end up adopting the same approach. You know me, I won't come down to reality for a few days. There's no speaking to me. How will you be?
I mean, I've been saying I was prepared to happy clap for weeks after the Manchester United result. You and I had a slight, sort of maybe difference of view, about maybe the man or the Liverpool game that happened afterwards, because it sort of brought me down from the happy clapping Jerome. But then once we got the 1-0 win against Liverpool, I knew I was going to be happy clapping through the weekend, because I was pretty positive that Spurs weren't going to cock it up against Tamworth. It got a little close there, but luckily it didn't happen, and I'm in a great mood. And if we end up then getting any type of result against Arsenal where we can pick up a point or even more, I will be probably pretty intoxicatingly, happy clapping at that point. It's just, I think Ange has had to go through a very tough period here, and there were some games here that you would argue that, if they went differently, would he really be under the pressure, be under the spotlight again? And I think he's done well. The fact that he beat Liverpool, I think, put a lot of pressure off of him. And despite how ugly it was against Tamworth, we avoided it being, an embarrassment, which I think then also as well gives Ange that sort of that benefit of the doubt. And I'm actually quite relieved. So at the moment, I'm very secure. I'm very happy clapping Jerome, and hopefully we can pick up a result to get more people on the Ange Express.
And look, ultimately, I think that's what's going to do it. Keep winning games, keep maybe proving people wrong. I think ultimately you get them on side. That's the only way about doing it. So big up Jerome. But I think we'll all be with you if we beat Arsenal. I don't think there's any proper talking to us for a few days at least. And then Davy Shire has been very, very good again. You're way too kind, Davy. And he's gifted out another 5 channel memberships. I thought Christmas was ended a few weeks ago, Jack, but still seems like it's Christmas out there. Big up, Davy. Who's the lucky recipients?
Futility 1912, Spurs, Kelly Snow, making it snow. Thank you so much, Davy Shire. And then International Observer, in the chat lots of times, International Observer. So please take advantage of that. Maybe next time
if you ever want one day. If
you ever wanted to make a debut. And then Min Chi, who I've also seen in the chat before, at least I know is a person that's watching a lot in the background. So big up to Min Chi. And thank you so much, Davy Shire. Been really generous to us, man. Really, really generous. So
we're
hopefully you're pumped for Wednesday, and hopefully we do get that result that Jerome was just talking about there, Davy Shire, your fellow Aussie. Hopefully you guys could probably hear each other celebrating, maybe across the country.
Big up, Davey. Way too kind. And he's following up and telling smash the likes as well. You're better at plugging this shit than we are, Davey. Fair play to you, my man. Absolute legend. Absolute legend. Guys, just 2 things. Mark Cook, he's a friend of the channel. He's always in the chat supporting us. He has started up a new channel. It would be great if some of you could get over there and support the cause. Let me find it. I did put it in here. Here we are. This is the name of it, guys. The 2 Marks Tottenham. We did put it in there. They're only a couple off 100 subscribers. So if you can help make that happen, that'd be absolutely amazing. And then also, guys, I'm going to put Dermot's link in here as well. He is currently live right now as we're ending off. So, guys, if any of you do want any more content or stuff like that, or you can't get enough of the one and only Dermo, make sure you get over and check him out. He is live right now. But, guys, I presume that's it from me and you, Jack, until tomorrow. Plenty of things coming your way tomorrow. We will have the members preview ahead of the big North London derby. We will have a debate show at 6 p.m. tomorrow evening. Hopefully it will be Sam, Johnny, and Sean Butler. And then after that, look out for the likes of the predicted lineup and all that. Oh, lastly, actually, guys, sorry, it doesn't end there after the debate show. The fun does not end, because we will be sitting down watching the Liverpool game. That is to follow at 8 p.m. over on Big Up. And guys, we would really appreciate, I know there's 89 people left here right now, everyone's gone off now that we're ending. Even if 20 or 30 is, could come in, give us a bit of support. It's fun. We sit there, we have quizzes, we talk shite, it's like being down at the pub. We talk about food, girlfriends, love, football, movies, you name it, we discuss it. I mean, what more do you guys want? So if you are watching the game and you feel like you want a decent conversation, please get over there and join us. The best thing as well is, you don't need memberships or anything like that, guys. You simply just come in, click the link to join. You can come on screen and have these great conversations with us. I like to think of it as it's a time for me and Jack to actually get there and sort of, because in and around the Spurs content, of course, we have a lot to say because we're the hosts and stuff like that. We have to do it. But over there, we can sit back. We can actually get to know each other on a deeper level. And that's what I actually love most about it. As well as, they make it easy over there for us to put all this stuff together. So fair play to them. But Jack, anything you want to say before we end off?
I thought that was a fabulous plug, Dave. Yeah, for all the content that's coming up, but also for people to head on over to Big Up if they just want to hang out with us more, hear what else we might be chatting about Spurs-wise or just in general, because we're doing more content over there. So please, everybody, head on over, follow us over there. You get notifications when we are going live there, usually through the email, so you don't have to make sure that you're missing something. And you also just help out this channel, help us out a ton by following us over there. So excellent plug, Dave. And looking forward to what is a huge week again. It's just week after week of Tottenham Hotspur craziness and big games, and it's not really going to stop.
Do you know what, Jack? Last year we were praying for this situation. Get back into Europe,
right.
Stay in the cup competitions.
Feels good.
Give us 3 games every week. And now that we're in the thick of it, it's difficult to keep up. But you know what? I bloody wouldn't change it for the world. I absolutely love it. But guys, that's it from us. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Like I said, go and share the love to the 2 Marks, chat Tottenham. Go and share the love to Dermo, who's live now. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Stay safe, stay awesome, and spread the love. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
In the big hand, I still trust, baby.
Have a good night.